Alrighty, boys and girls, welcome in. Good morning, good morning. Alrighty, how are we all doing? Good morning, welcome in. Welcome. The capitalization on my Twitch thing, I have no idea. I think it's because when I first made my username way back in the many millennia ago, it didn't support capitalization or something. Who knows? Whatever. Whatever. How are we doing, Chalida? Welcome in. Good morning. Today, we're going to be playing some WoW, but God's honest truth is I don't really know what. This seems odd, but I'm very tempted to like level a warlock or something. I don't know why. I kind of oh dear. There's a button on my. There was a message on my screen that said something that nobody likes to see. It's expensive this morning. Why is the token so goddamn expensive this morning? Sheesh. Alright, well, 386 isn't that bad. I actually think, right, stating it right now, or the chat doesn't particularly work on this screen, does it? Right here, right now, I'm going to state that we are likely to see 450, maybe even 500 on the old token price if we get a pre-order for the new expansion. I think the token might do a madness. Right, well, we've spent nearly 400,000 gold already so far today. There better be a lot of stuff in this mailbox. Sheesh. Alright, there better be loads of goodies in this mailbox. There'll likely be a pre-order to boost the Q4 figures. It's a very strong possibility, I feel. Very strong possibility.
Looking for something special.
Are we still good in the auction house? Somebody bought a bunch of my living steel. I'm not sure why I had a bunch of living steel. Either way, I'll take it. Somebody's gone and bought a whole bunch of materials. 65 volatile air. Not sure what's going on with these. Must have been random trash I had in my bags that got sent places. 25 minutes until a bunch, what appears to be nearly everything. Okay.
Go in peace.
Let's see if we sold anything yesterday. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's grab the expireds first. Get those out of the way. It's weird going into a brand new patch and not really feeling like there's so much I need to do specifically for the patch, if that makes sense. It's kind of
Greetings, traveler.
it's both kind of refreshing and a bit weird. Especially now we don't have there's no time walking dungeons to do this week because we finished that off last week. That thing's over again. That's disappeared and gone. Dream surges and rifts and all that sort of stuff, we are long since finished playing with those. It's just very quiet. It's just very quiet. I kind of like it though. I kind of like just being able to potter around in WoW sometimes and not particularly do anything, not particularly have a chore list. Just to be able to go and explore some corners of the map that maybe you don't, or mess around playing with some random piece of content that you haven't thought about for a while. We could maybe even do some ATT random and just see what happens there. ATT random, pick a mount, go get a mount. do what we can to get a mount. Sounds like a good day to play some City Skylines 2. It's not a bad day to play City Skylines 2, you know. That's not a terrible idea. That's not a terrible idea at all. I haven't really decided, if I'm honest. I haven't really decided. I'm kind of very casually playing a few games at the moment. It's really odd. It's really odd how kind of the focus is not very laser focused on one thing. Just casually playing a little bit of Rumble, casually playing a bit of City Skylines. Yep, Cyberpunk's another one. We had a little bit of a dabble in Cyberpunk for a week or so. Making some good progress on my Cyberpunk playthrough. It's been a little while since I've loaded up Cyberpunk, actually. It's been a little while.
May the eternal sun
I'm not going to do an Asmongold and say I'm going to play Cyberpunk for 14 days straight and not actually do it, though. Because that's just mean. I'm going to have to do another playthrough as a male. Seems like they've really enhanced the text messaging stuff, especially for the romances. See, this is one thing I never really got into with Cyberpunk. I just kind of semi-went blind into it. Just kind of like stood back and, you know, just played the game, whatever it threw at me. I guess if I was to play the game again, knowing that there's different endings and try to do like the opposite of whatever I think I did the first time round, I might accidentally find like myself going in a different route. What did we sell yesterday though? 2 ancient plans, Darrow Dirk, for only 3,000 gold apiece. I let those go quite cheap, I think, but something is better than nothing. Dread leather jerkin of the peerless. Dread leather jerkin of the peerless, 45,000 gold. What the hell is a dread leather jerkin of the peerless, and why did I sell it for 45,000 gold? Sure. Absolutely no problems with that. Moonglow vest, we determined that this is a bit slut-moggy. Ancient plans, Darrow Dirk, 3,000 gold again. Clearly somebody bought all of them to reset the price on that. That's a likely occurrence there. Fell leather boots, 4,500 gold. Some black dragon scales set. Styling adventure hat, 4,500 gold. Spirit keeper's helm, 1,500 gold. I think that's way too cheap. And a nightfall for 8,000 gold. Interesting. Let's take those then. You know what I could, and probably should do actually, is go mine up some titanium. As ridiculous as that sounds, if I really, really, really want to eventually get every single jewel crafting recipe, I'm going to need more titanium. For starters though, what the hell is that random ass item we sold for 45k? And what do I need to do to get another one to do it again? Dread leather jerkin of the peerless. Item level, Legion crafted. Random ass Legion crafted. I've sold 2 of them. One of them for 45k, one of them for 5.7k. Leatherworking. Okay, let's get the second account open. I need to see this in more detail. Why does that not have a crafting cost against it? How are we doing, Tammy Trader? Welcome in. Good morning. Almost finished watching your VOD from last night. Is this all the stuff you crafted from last night? Probably a bunch of it, yeah. Probably a bunch of it is. We did leatherworking in yesterday morning's stream. Yesterday evening I did blacksmithing and enchanting amongst random Nax runs and stuff. I do kind of wish they'd taken a bit more of a page out of the GTA romance textbook. I didn't even know GTA had romances in it. I'm sure that it's been so long since I properly played GTA 5 as well. I used to just randomly load up GTA 5 and just spend 40 hours in a week randomly playing it. Just to kind of get my fix. I used to do that once a year. For no reason other than it's just kind of a fun game. Where's leather working then? Where's this dread leather? Dread leather jerkin is what I crafted, apparently. Okay. Legitimately no idea how or why I was able to both craft and sell that for 50k, but I will definitely take it. 2 pieces of fell hide, which are like 300 gold, like 1,000 gold crafting cost. And I don't even have dread leather jerkin rank 3, which greatly reduces the materials required to craft it. It probably takes the stone hide leather down by, I don't know, a fraction. Go farm more of souls on Mythic to get this one to drop, apparently. Just a quick reference back to last night's stream. Scott Johnson, who did the old Hunter podcasts, also did a Blizzard panel. Sort of a big guy back in his day for raiding hunters. Oh, I see. Okay. I see. He's eluded my radar, potentially. Okay. Well, I'm tempted to make another one of these just because, well, we could now, in theory, make 5 of these. We could probably make 40 of these. Before we actually lose gold, but this, you kind of need miracle sales like this occasionally, right? Miracle sales like this don't come around too often, but what you need is these miracle sales to cover the cost of your losses, right? This is why I don't mind randomly posting things like this at silly prices, because, you know, that one miracle sale can cover 40 other random pieces of gear that you craft and try and sell and eventually sell for less, because they just don't sell at the rate you expect them to, for example. This is why I'm not scared about taking losses, particularly when it comes to crafting. At least old stuff that's just, you know, casual slow seller anyway. I wonder if it's because it's of the Peerless, or I wonder if it's just because it was a freak. Somebody wanted to spend 50k on it. Dread leather. Dread leather. Huh. The chest pieces are all 50k. That seems, that seems very well orchestrated. Yet they are being listed by different people. Some of the pieces, the bindings are like 300 gold a piece. I wonder if it just has a cool appearance. Not overly. Is it maybe skeleton-ish? I don't know. Who knows? Genuinely, who knows? He's an illustrator, so if I was ever going to buy a big golden dick for the wall, he'd be the guy to do it. Oh, I see. Okay. There's a new PTR build. Do you even know if there's any interesting changes? Wasn't this a 10.2.5 PTR build? Isn't this the new encrypted one? He does Boomer Just Chatting streams with tech heads, friends, even his sister, who's a psychologist at Frog Pants now. Huh. Do sound like quite a fan. Borderline stalkerish, but yeah, sure. Do you know a crafter for Warrior Tier 3 by chance on Draenor? I don't. On Draenor, throw up some public orders and they'll get filled. There's no chance that they won't get filled. It might not happen instantly, but as long as you're not, that thirsty for it. If I'd got my act together, I'd say me, but I haven't. I still haven't got the tier 3 stuff sorted, and I don't overly feel too incentivized to do it either. Farming knacks, one character at a time, 80 hours worth of farming. I'm very tempted to just buy the rest of the pieces I need, which is most of them. Second pot of coffee down, 3 a.m. fundraising for 1,400 this morning. No need for a third pot now the stream has started. Anything I hope to see at BlizzCon this year?
Goodbye.
I think we already know what we're getting at BlizzCon. So it's more of a case I'm just excited to see what we already kind of know we're going to get. Like expansion announcement, for example. Expansion announcement. I'm intrigued to see what they do, short term with Rumble. As they already seem to have a bunch of stuff planned for the launch of Rumble. I suspect there's a good chance we might even get a Diablo 4 expansion announcement as well. There's no denying that they're probably going to want to put out expansions yearly for Diablo 4. What would be really cool is if there's some secret surprise announcement for this long-term survival game that Blizzard have apparently been working on very secretively behind the scenes. Some information about that would be fun. A sneak peek to what we might, Microsoft have just spent $69 giggity billion. It would also be cool to see what plans they have for the next 12, 24 months. It's just more intrigue about kind of what we already roughly know might be coming. I think 10.2 PTR was updated, but not sure. Should we do some digging? Should we do some digging? We start off with a bit of Wowhead. See if Wowhead has anything listed. There's not been like new patch notes or anything for it. Class and trinket tuning hotfix. Just hotfixes then. Oh, this is funny, by the way. This is funny. Dream Surge rep bonus nerfed in 10.2. Now claiming to exclude Dream Wardens. So people's theory of how to zerg the rep and practically get it done within a day, they've kind of nuked. They've also seemingly, they've heavily nuked rep gains from the Dream Surge. Not a surprise, really, with there being so much publicized shenanigans about the new rep grind being cheesed. It's not really a surprise that, they've come out and decided to put their foot down and go, no, you are not cheesing this in one day, you idiots. But yeah, probably by the looks of things, just class and trinket tuning. The question would be is if there's any patch notes or if there's any sneakies is what's going on here. A Demon Hunter, Druid, and Evoker, and then some trinkets. So, just some very subtle stuff. Does MMO Champion have better? It usually does. Day of the Dead stuff. Are these new? Defeat a contender whilst wearing a contender's outfit purchased during Day of the Dead. You can battle with other costume players. You can even use the costumes after the holiday is over. These aren't new, surely? Do you have any experience with the timers on Kata rare spawns? I'm trying to farm some transmog and they're not spawning for hours. That is factual. The spawn time is like horrendous on Kata rares. We're talking like 6 to 12 hour respawns in many cases. That's back in the day when rares were genuinely rare, and you would have, you know, raids set up waiting for the rare spawn. Fucking hell, adverts all over the place. New this year, 50k for your candles. Last chance to get 4 candles. Not handles for forks, but 4 candles. If you get the reference, you are very well cultured. Congratulations. If you don't, grow up. Looks like 5. Shush. Break the meme, Kahani. Break the meme. Some classic details. Wow, can you tell what I've been looking at online recently? Targeted ads, Jesus Christ. Traditional flying changes. This hasn't been super well documented, but I'm sure people have probably heard this. Nor does it really make a huge amount of difference. The Fresh Scales 15 has been removed from the Pathfinder, leading to basically we'll have OG flying in the Dragon Isles basically day one. All you actually are going to need, you can basically fully complete Pathfinder now, all apart from exploring the Emerald Dream. So by the time you've flown around and picked up your new dragon glyphs in the new zone, you can put your dragon to bed because you won't need him anymore. You will have basically Pathfinder OG style flying basically day one. So there's no rep grind involved in that. They really have pushed this rep grind to be super optional. They've taken out the cheese. They've taken out the Pathfinder. Realistically, people are going to want to level up the new renown for 2 reasons, I guess. One, because they're a completionist, and having a renown having a reputation that is not complete before leaving the expansion is sacrilegious, not allowed. And you've also got the people that want the permanent augment rune and are somehow willing to spend 100,000 gold on it. But sure. Having a house as a prime target for Bauhaus Wyobi ads? Yeah, I know. Bauhaus, for reference, is probably Finland's biggest hardware store. I guess it's safe to call it a hardware store in general terms. With the old flying, I think I'll get a few more accidental deaths by fatigue again. Yeah, just pointing in a direction, right click, off we go. Yeah, I've done that. I do that quite frequently. I'll point myself in a direction and then I'll go grab a drink or go to the toilet, and then the phone rings or something and I come back to the computer and I'm like the wrong end of the map, dead, which is always fun. But back to Pathfinder. This will be easily done day one. Upon further review, we've decided to remove the Fresh Scales 15 requirement from the Dragon Isles Pathfinder. There will be no renown level requirements. I've updated the original post here, and we're updating the Guardians of the Dream patch notes to reflect this. Thank you for your feedback. I wonder, like, I'm always in 2 minds about these decisions. I'm always in 2 minds because it's like, one, the reason they have the Pathfinder is because they want to make sure that people have gone out and played the game, like, at least once. Now, I really don't think the renown is that difficult of a problem, right? is there really anybody out there that hasn't got, like, at least the renowns done on their main? Like, what have you been doing? Like, you have to purely have done nothing but raid log the entire expansion. And if you've done nothing but raid log the entire expansion, do you really need regular ass flying? It's like, it's weird. It's weird. It's like, I don't know. It's an odd decision. Maybe this is probably just a knee-jerk fix, to be honest. It's a knee-jerk fix for the fact that, you know, it was being cheesed, and they were like, right, we either need to re-figure out how all of this works, or we just take away the need for people to cheese it in the first place. So I guess that's what they've done. I was hoping they'd replace all flying with dragon riding. Yeah, I'm more in that category. I feel odd. I go back to Stormwind, I go back to Orgrimmar, I go into the old world, and I do regular flying, and it feels like I'm just kind of like hacking. It's too like camera hack mode. You know, you just go. I don't know. It feels like 2006 flying. Dragon riding feels like it's, you know, a better new age way of traversing the land. But what are you gonna do? Do you know what time they're going to release Arclight Rumble? I don't. Although, do they not? Have they not? Is there not like a thing on here? Is the BlizzCon countdown timer? I don't know. If I'm honest, I don't think there is like a set time. And this is because I don't think they totally have control over it. Because this is Android and iOS. So they're kind of at the mercy of the App Store, the Google Play Store and the App Store. When it goes live on those platforms is maybe less out of the control of Blizzard. You know, they can say a day when it goes live, but it's not anything that you're going to particularly race through anyway. You're, for the most part, going to play this very much at your leisure. That would be my assumption anyway. This is all the pre-register stuff. Goes live November 3rd. Worldwide on Android, iOS devices November 3rd. Live at BlizzCon 2023. I mean, if they do have some control over it, there's a good possibility that, you know, they do the BlizzCon thing, they do the opening ceremony, and at the end of it, they can say, and now you can play Warcraft Rumble. Do you guys not have phones? And everybody laughs, ha, 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 and they go off and play games. That's I hope, in a way, I do hope they play into that meme. I think it'd be quite funny. That would be a level of self-awareness that's would be appreciated. We've watched this What's New in Rumble video. The irony is since they published this video, quite a lot has actually changed, but oops. And half the people go, that joke was in bad taste, and start some new drama. Hey, gotta have drama. Gotta have drama. But the stamina, time is money. You need to start soon as possible. It's there's plenty of time to play Rumble, don't you worry. There may be a small group of people who are so put off by dragon riding that they stopped playing until normal flying is reintroduced, and now they're complaining that they had to farm rep for that. Well, then don't play it. I see. This is probably why I would not be a good CEO for company. Because I am quite comfortable telling people to just go away if I think they're being stupid, and I think if that's the case, if there's a, you know, if you're so put off by dragon riding that you chose not to play the game, then well, the game wasn't for you, was it? You know, the game wasn't for you. It's like playing Forza and complaining that all of the cars are left-hand drive, and you live in the UK and you have right-hand drive, and I just can't play it. I don't know. It's just people being dumb. I don't care about people like that. I genuinely don't. Get over yourself. Simple. If the game's not for you, the game's not for you. It's really simple. What are they claiming? They're claiming over 60 characters. I don't think there's 60. I think there's 54. I think that's a lie. Or maybe that's counting the leaders as well. Okay, the leaders as well, possibly. Triumph through the single-player campaign with only over 70 missions. By the time you eventually reach Sigil 50, you unlock the heroic campaign and get to do them all again 5 times over. Work with your guild to earn seasonal rewards with war chests. Play cooperatively with your friends or put their armies to the test in competitive player versus player mode. Play cooperatively with your friends? This is the one thing that I don't know if that is. No, you can't. No, you can't. Unless I've missed something here. I don't think... There's no, like, what? No? Unless it's just... No? That's a lie. That's a lie. You can play against other people randomly. Unless that's something... Maybe that's a new update. Or maybe that's just worded very poorly. Yes, there is a competitive PvP mode, but you cannot play cooperatively with your friends. Okay. Do some dungeons or take on demanding cooperative raids. Oh, maybe this is going to be a launch feature. Maybe the raids are going to be switched on during launch. Because they wouldn't be stating it here if it wasn't otherwise. Because we don't have access to raids right now. Raids aren't a thing currently. So maybe maybe raids are going to also launch tomorrow. Oh, that would be cool. I have got no idea about what the raids are. So there's a handful of people that already have a rough idea of what the raids are and have played them and whatever, because they have insider Blizzard know-how. Flex your skills and earn more rewards with the heroic campaign. This unlocks after you've collected 50 sigils. You gain a sigil for completing each stage in the main campaign. You can also... Yeah, that's the main way of getting the sigils. These are the sigils at the top here. Take on the Arclight Surge for new challenges as earn more rewards. These blue outlined areas is where there's a surge, and each time you complete one of the nodes in the surge, you get extra rewards. Join a guild, engage in PvP, and more. Go head-to-head in PvP. Take on dungeons beginning at level 5. Add more joy with mechanical marvels. When you pre-register, you get some MOG. Okay, that's it. iPhone 6 or higher, iOS 13 or higher. And on Android, a Snapdragon 675 or higher. I have no idea what that is. It works perfectly fine on my phone, that's all I know. But yeah, no actual fixed time. But I suspect by the time that BlizzCon initial announcement, but like the BlizzCon opening ceremony is done, this should be up and running. Are the servers region locked, or is it like Clash Royale that it's worldwide? It's totally worldwide. It's totally worldwide. I've got people who play over on the NA in my guild. So yeah, this kicks in tomorrow, which will be cool. I was trying to do some digging for any PTR updates. That's a cool piece of artwork, you know. That's very funky. Scaleboard novel. October 31st update. Guardians of the Dream content becomes available week November 7th. Brings a variety of updates to the Dragonflight, including new outdoor zone, the Emerald Dream, a new raid, Admidrasil, the Dream's Hope, and some new public events, the Super Bloom, the Emerald Frenzy, and the Emerald Bounty. I like how they're claiming all three of these as separate events. They're kind of all synergistically connected together, though. It feels like just one event. Dragonflight Season 3, Battleground Blitz Ball, and a new world boss, and some more. Achievement changes, class changes, rogue changes, shaman changes. That's it. That's it. I don't think there was much on the PTR to really pay attention to. This is this month's, all this month's, trading post stuff. We shouldn't be any part. I like this shield, you know. This is a nice play on the old school Skullflame shield. Talia was streaming some yesterday. He has a goblin team designed for max gold, starving the opponent. Said he was going to BlizzCon Boomer style with his best teams. And strats written in paper. Paper, can you imagine it? There will probably be some. I suspect you will see a massive influx of people from like the Clash Royale community that will flood into Warcraft Rumble and come up with just some ludicrously outrageous builds and setups and specs. The only frustration I think for people is going to be the biggest with Rumble. My feeling is that the biggest catch is that people are going to buy the first trait for their minis that they get access to, and then they are going to be mighty annoyed when they look up a guide and the guide suggests they use a different trait. Each mini has 3 traits, but you can't have 3 traits to choose from until your mini is epic. When your mini is uncommon, you have access to 1 trait. When your mini is rare, you have access to 2 traits. And only when you level up to epic, which is going to take a free-to-play player a long-ass time, by the way, you can obviously take your credit card out and get there much faster. But like the reality is that you are going to have very slow but steady progress if you go free-to-play. And that you'll get locked into having 1 trait, and it will annoy people that they won't be able to get access to the others. That's the only thing I hope Blizzard sort of switch up or change somehow, allowing people to. I don't know. I don't know how they could do it because it's so very built into the. It's a core feature for pushing people to level up their minis further, right? It's the carrot on the end of the stick that you get to use, that you'll get access to more of the traits. I haven't seen any traits yet, but I have almost all the minis, missing 4. Yeah, your first step 1, get all of the minis and prioritize getting a new mini over basically anything else that pops up in your grid. Step 2 is level up your favorite minis, your main core team of minis, level those up to uncommon and get their trait. Try and get their best trait if you can. Now, there's not strictly always a best trait. There's often a trait that is good for PvE, a trait that's good for PvP, and then just another utility type trait. That's how they've tried to make it. Your quick advancement through the game will be on the PvE side of things. You will use the PvE side of the game to get access to a lot of gold, to buy more minis and level up your minis. And then eventually, once you kind of reach the wall in the PvE side of the game, then you will switch over to the PvP side of the game, and then you'll realize that all of your progress with all of your minis in PvE, you want to change a whole bunch of stuff for PvP, but that's just kind of the switch it will take. The long-term way to play Rumble is going to be to play the PvP, I feel. That's the true end game. I'm talking about end game in a mobile game that you're sort of incentivized to log on and play for an hour every day and then put it down. But I'm just sort of prepping people based on my experience playing it for a few months. We might jump on the PTR in a little minute, though, just to clarify that this patch didn't have any sneaky sneakies behind the scenes. We know historically that Blizzard's pretty terrible when it comes to patch notes, especially from Goblin sort of stuff, so... BlizzCon floor plan. So they have the Dark Moon Fair, World of Warcraft, Rumble, photo booth, demo areas, Rumble Mania. Clearly going to be lots of 2 separate demo areas. Be cool to see if... Well, this demo area here, it's got a little picture of Sylvanas on it. So it's also clearly going to be the area where you can play Rumble. And then this demo area. What do we think they could use for this Warcraft-related demo area? They're sure as shit not going to designate an entire demo area to Hearthstone, are they really? Maybe they are, look. There's an entire demo area for Hearthstone, an entire demo area for what is clearly going to be Rumble. Does this mean there's going to be a third demo area for whatever the new expansion announcement is? Could be. Could be. New expansion starting zone, maybe? Demo area? Overwatch, lol. Overwatch Cup, bigger lol. And then Diablo stuff. The Diablo Fat Goose in? Sure. And then the BlizzCon Arena. Okay. I'm not going to BlizzCon, so this doesn't make a blind bit of difference to me, but it's interesting. You've got the Marriott and the Hilton Hotel, like, right next door. Yeah, okay. Not bothered about all of that. Not bothered about any of that. Let's, where did we get to? Did all of those auctions expire yet? Some of them, yeah. Notice BlizzCon's being streamed live for free this time rather than making us buy virtual tickets to watch it online. I mean, it's a smart way to do it, isn't it, really? I mean, it's a very smart way to do it. Like, obviously it doesn't do great to promote ticket sales if people can watch what they want to watch from home, but people who want to go to BlizzCon go for the experience of going to a BlizzCon, right? There'll always be a bunch of people that will go to the actual event. There's no problem in that at all. But outside of that, why in today's age when the reality is it's mostly a marketing thing anyway, why would you paywall a marketing event? It doesn't make sense, right? It just doesn't make sense. What, like, you just show everybody for free, you know? Wow, Grandma's going. She's even got a Murloc onesie for it. Ah, she's a gem. She's a gem. The amount of bots running through Zaralek is absurd. No wonder mats are not worth anything. I mean, I don't know what to say about bots nowadays, to be honest. Like, they're always going to be there. The only thing you can do about bots, really, is do diligently report them when you see them. Like, but you also need to play the game under the understanding that there will always be lots of bots. And I shit you not, 10.2 is going to get even worse. It's going to get even worse. Because it's far more simplistic for a bot to do bot things when they have full flying. Obviously, full-on bots don't care about any form of flying. They have like fly hacks and all sorts of stuff, but you know, I suspect they probably get swatted quite quickly. The bots are pretty good with dragon flying right now. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, just look at how advanced AI is, right? If AI can do AI things and blow our minds, I'm sure somebody can make a bot for World of Warcraft, you know? Unfortunately, I don't think it's rocket science to do any of this stuff. She's fantastic. I want to be playing games when I'm that age too. Yeah, not only does she play games, she kicks ass in WoW.
Hail.
And my god, does she have dedication. She like streams 12 hours a day. The woman's a machine. If I've got that much energy to do anything at her age, I'll be impressed. I'll wake up some days and I'm like, nah. And I'm in my 30s. She's probably done double what I've done in my life. And she's banging out 12-hour streams. Woman's a machine.
Hello there.
We're all getting there. It does feel like a bunch of boomers in here sometimes, that is true. Speaking spell, how are we doing? Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Give me a warden staff. Interesting way to say hello. How are we doing? I do not have a spare warden staff. Never kicked ass at any game, really. Just being able to participate will be enough for me at 80 years old. Oh, yeah, exactly. For sure. She also has access to more medication than you ever will. Isn't she sponsored by an energy? Is she really? Can you imagine WoW Grandma sponsored by Red Bull? that would be quite amusing. Or she gets some sort of imagine she gets some pre-workout like some protein powder sponsorship or something. Wow, Grandma gets swole. Move over, Bajira. We've got a new bodybuilder in town. Bajira is looking ripped at the moment, by the way. I don't know if any of you guys see or watch or follow Bajira. I think he's got a competition soon, and he is absolutely shredded. Isn't that the panther from the Jungle Book? Oh, that's Bagheera. Bajira. The legendary Fury warrior. I'd be happy to have the energy my nan had at that age. She stopped bodyboarding at 19. It was around 94 when she stopped being able to go into the sea. I mean, that is actually mental. That's actually mental. Old people in the Nordics do really well, though, generally speaking. There is definitely... Now, maybe I'm just being very well sold to. Maybe I have locality bias here. But sauna, relatively simple but relatively natural diet, and access to fresh water is clearly like the perfect triangle for human existence, right? Because Nordic people seem to absolutely smash it at older ages, generally. I know old Finnish people that way into their 80s, 90s, they take a sauna, and then after their sauna, they go dip themselves through a hole in the ice into freezing cold water, and then they get out and they drink a beer and eat a slice of reindeer ham and are just absolutely balling off life. I don't know how it works. But I appreciate it, and I'm impressed by it. It's the cold, like food in the freezer lasts longer. There's kind of probably some logic there. Either way, I find it very impressive. Still, the biggest indicator of longevity is generics. It's that Viking blood, right? Never die. Oh god, the titanium market did never recover, did it? It never recovered. Never recovered. Ouch. Where does my total gold factor into your health? Negatively. There is probably a direct correlation by the more gold you have in World of Warcraft is the earlier you are going to die. I would put money on it. You mean a steady diet of fast food, delivery food is good for you? I wish it was. He who dies with the most gold wins. That sounds like a sauna competition. Sounds like the crazy shit some people do. Right. I haven't pressed my daily buttons. Sure, it was pure stubbornness with my nan. 2019, she passed at 97 years old. She knew COVID was going to happen and noped the fuck out of there. Yeah. I'm quite sure that was they smelt it in the air or something. Yeah. Subtract the amount of legendaries you crafted in Shadowland from the total hours. It's like those old smoking campaigns. Or no smoking campaigns, I should probably state. The old no smoking campaigns. Each cigarette will take 3 hours off your life expectancy. Haven't they just banned smoking in the UK now, actually? In some roundabout fashion. I don't do politics on my stream all too often, but this is like healthcare world news, which is somewhat intriguing. Haven't they just done something funky in the UK about the cigarette laws? It's going to go up every year or something? Or should I stop watching TikTok? What was going on with that? Here's your chance to educate me. crafted. Boring crafted. Is it proposed legislation? Does that usually indicates it's not actually been put through yet? They're just suggesting that this might be a good thing to do. Oh, hang on, here we go. Here we go. Rishi Sunak defends his plan to ban smoking for the younger generation. This was back October 5th. Phase out the sale of cigarettes in England will be the biggest public health intervention in a generation. No safe level of smoking when asked about restricting people's right to choose. His plan seeks to raise the legal age of smoking every year by a year, so then eventually nobody can buy tobacco. Tory MPs will be allowed to free vote, whilst Labour indicated it would back the policy. Some critics of the policy say it would lead to the creation of a black market. Well, of course it will. Of course it will. Last year, the tobacco industry raised more than 10 billion in taxes, a 3% drop from 2021 to 2022. This is always the problem, right? This is the problem. The problem when they tax these supposedly negative things for you, it's the same with alcohol. Like they tax the absolute living balls off it, and so then they can't outlaw it because it makes too much money. It just makes too much money. You can't get rid of the tobacco industry because it made £10 billion. You know, if you outlaw the tobacco industry, all of a sudden you need to find £10 billion from somewhere else. Now, the argument is that, well, if you outlaw smoking, then your healthcare, it takes a strain off your healthcare, but that's not an instant fix. That's straight up not an instant fix. People will still get lung cancer because they've already been smoking for 20 years. Not to mention the amount of chaos you're going to cause by having a flipping nation of people going cold. Well, I suppose it's basically, I guess it kind of makes it though so that people who are already legally able to buy cigarettes will continue to be able to legally buy cigarettes for as long as they wish. It just means that the next generation, if you are not old enough to buy cigarettes now, you never will be. So then the logic behind that is that you eventually just won't start, right? Tobacco companies kill their customers and condom companies prevent their future customers being born in the first place. Pretty disturbing when you think about it. Yeah. Durex going out of business. Imagine being always 1 year away. Well, I lived in the UK. When I lived in the UK, a year or two... Okay, I'm likely to expose my actual age if I'm not careful here. It's something that I do try and keep off the internet. But I remember my friend's younger brother turned 16, because you used to be able to buy cigarettes at 16 in the UK. You could for a long, long, long time until they changed it to 18. My friend's younger brother turned 16. He'd already been smoking since he was like 13, 14 or something stupid. But he turned 16 and was able to buy cigarettes. That summer, they then changed it to 18. So he went from being able to not buy cigarettes to be able to buy cigarettes to then not be able to buy cigarettes again. And then like 12 months later, he could then buy them again. He got caught right in the middle of the policy change, which was just stupid. But this would mean that, if you can't buy cigarettes now, you never will be able to if the legal age goes up year by year, I suppose. I quit smoking in the summer because the price got too high in the Netherlands. I'm not paying 18 euros for 60 grams of tobacco. I mean, Christ, it's cheaper to buy cocaine at that point, surely? Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, you could already claim that it's a bit of a black market in that regard, right? If the tobacco companies are able to literally bend you over, then, like, how is that not a black market in the first place? Got to free up the NHS money to tackle obesity. Well, I mean, the UK already struggles vastly. The UK struggles massively with obesity. People are already too fat. You take their cigarettes away from them, they gain an appetite back. McDonald's stocks are going to go through the roof, and we're going to have more than an obesity crisis on our hands. You was looking fat today. It's going to go crazy. There's always two sides to every story. Always two sides to every story. But yeah, this is the only thing that will make a difference. Dare I say it, if there was any other prime minister running the UK at the moment, there is something to be said about having a prime minister who is absolutely fucking caked, right? It means he's not so easy to buy off. I'm very, very certain that the amount of corruption that goes on in any form of politics anywhere is so vast that if you have an averagely wealthy prime minister, shit's not going to change, right? Shit's never changing. Because as soon as they suggest that, well, maybe we do this, somebody turns up with a briefcase of cash and goes, I don't think we should do that. And they go, I understand. When you are absolutely caked in the first place, and you're married to some flipping billionaire, then maybe it's not so easy to be bought off. Maybe the tobacco industry can't turn around to him and say, or I suppose if they pay 10 billion in taxes, imagine what that actual revenue is. I suppose maybe. Either way. One major factor is that all countries need a percentage of deaths to balance the income. Yeah, people are genuinely living too long. Too long. People need to hurry up and die. Wow, what a dark turn this stream took. It's getting awfully political now. Ah, no. Yeah, the coffee's kicking in. I should probably chill. Somebody clip him. Him and his wife are money-obsessed, narcissistic, heinous people. They'll take any form of bribery. I mean, you have to be in that position generally. This is why I tend to do my best to avoid politics, because there is no such thing as an entirely sane of mind politician. It's not It's actually not possible. It's genuinely not possible. This is why I don't envy like big industry CEOs or anything of these lines. If you are able to 100% dedicate your life to anything, whether it be for the good, for the bad, for the money, if you are able to 100% dedicate every hour of every day to a cause, you're not what I would consider normal. Ultimately meaning that to be a successful politician, to be a successful CEO, to be whatever the case may be, everybody has to have a screw loose to be able to do something like that. So it's easy to pick holes in any of it. It really is. Sounds like a primary school teacher and addressing the public. Oh, I'm glad my primary school teachers weren't like that. It's a well-known fact that those people who must want to rule people are ipso facto the least suited to do it. Anybody who is capable of getting themselves made president should on no account be allowed to do the job. Yeah, this is it. It's like you've got to have a screw loose to get in your foot in the door in the first place. This is why it's so easy to look at like politicians and point a finger and say that they're just assholes, because half of them are tapped. You have to be to like, you know, you just have to be. And this is why I'm more than happy to let these crazy people do crazy things sometimes. Because they're doing crazy things and they're taking the flak for it so that other people can live relatively normal lives. And normality is where you should strive to be as much as possible. Any form of extremism in either direction is just bad. There's no sugarcoating that for sure. Sounds awfully like some orange-faced guy that blurts out random shit. Did he happen to run a casino and own hotels at one point? There we go, there's our cooldowns done on that dude. I'm just cycling through some of my cooldowns on my characters at the moment. I'm not, like, really... do I need to do the mage one? I don't think I've got everything on the mage. I need to do something outrageous to switch the topic of conversation from politics before it gets too deep. I can't do deep this early in the morning. I'll say something stupid. Right, I jumped on the druid because I thought about maybe actually this sound as ridiculous as this sounds. I thought I might get my gathering done for the week, just so we can slowly work towards completion over here. Not that I'm even remotely close, but it is kind of partly on my bucket list to do before we leave the expansion. As I can't. This is like really future planning here, but I do kind of think that whatever happens in the next expansion, and maybe even what happens in the expansion after that, I do think that Dragonflight as an expansion might end up having lots of things that you want to go back and do, or things that will be of value. They've added quite a few like toys and that sort of stuff. And will mean that I suspect there will still be some market for the materials in Dragonflight, even after Dragonflight. It's a long shot, but it's how I'm justifying it to myself to actually go out there and do some of the stuff. This is usually a piece of piss to complete because I've got rep tokens up the wazoo. Who rep-wise gives me books on this dude? I can't remember. On that basis, let's just level up a few. Oh, I need to do a time rift. Ah, I've missed it. All right, we'll do a time rift in a bit then. Hock and Bloom. Well, that's going to be easy enough. Have your Hock and Bloom. Give me my Artisan's Metal, please. That's the Herbalism one. My brain cannot remember where the mining dude is. Down here somewhere? No. Over by blacksmithing. Had to stop and think for a minute there. Mine or mine. 7 Draconium ore. Have some Draconium ore. I don't think I can be bothered to min-max and buy books unless I just so happen to accidentally already have all of the materials I need for them. Where are they? In the miscellaneous. Okay, I don't have the stuff. You know how we fix this? We just go... What's an Awakened Earth? What's a Rock Fang Leather? Okay, we just do this. Mining and herbalism. Whoa, who the fuck screwed over burnished inks to 1,000 gold apiece? How's that happen then? Who in the right mind has managed to reset the market on burnished inks? You absolute crazy person. Absolute crazy person. There's already an outstanding order for 300 gold. Poor. I want mine first. Oh, I didn't actually mean to track those. $32 points away from maxing blacksmithing. I've been going at it sweaty for months. I still haven't finished blacksmithing, if I'm honest. It's something that I kind of have been putting off. Oh, is that going to be the rank 1 prices, I see. Let's go Anaran Plains. I like flying around Anaran Plains. I don't have any shovels to do any dirt. Alright, fine. Where's the herb? Who's yoinked my herb? There it is. Why is my game running like ass? That's an odd phrase, because an ass doesn't technically run, does it? When you think about it. I mean, it's the legs that are running. The ass is just taking a free ride. Donkeys do run. Okay, different type of ass. But factually correct, yes. Somebody's following me. Hey, Crafters fulfilled my order on herbalism. Nice. Correct. Yeah, I am on Draenor. Yeah, if you wanted those orders. Appreciate the effort. Appreciate it. Should really be doing this in the cavern, but the cavern's so goddamn ugly. So goddamn ugly. Sometimes I just can't. I would much rather be somewhere. I tell you what, if my game doesn't stop running like ass, we're gonna me and you are gonna fall out. It can't possibly because I'm getting dum level frame drops. Is the stream lagging at all, or is it literally just me? Maybe the game's telling me that I just should not be gathering. Do you ever stop and think about how one of the most important parts of the professions was dirt? It feels a little bit silly. It feels a little bit like C-Block to my Factorio fans out there. Everything stems from dirt. But yes, I do agree. It's kind of weird how those who were able to stay ahead of the curve were the ones that also were willing to excessively farm piles of dirt to gain that advantage, which, when you break it down, is wild. It's actually wild. What is with these frame drops? Randomly kicking me down to 30 FPS for a second. Let me close this account just in case something's going odd. See if that makes a difference. Wow, has that fixed it? Was it just literally because my computer was crying because I had 2 instances of WoW open? Oh dear. Now, I'm the biggest of advocates for... huge advocate for dragon riding. But one area where I do think that... like, gathering is meant to be one of those dumb level, mundane, easy to do, close your eyes, get it done kind of things. And I do still to this day get wildly frustrated with dragon riding whilst gathering. It was a novel experience to begin with, but this is one of those areas where I do genuinely think... I even went as far at the beginning of the expansion to assume that you could allow for like 10,000 gold an hour worth of the value to be determined purely by your ability to dragon ride or not. If you can maintain your vigor from node to node more effectively than somebody else, I bet your results could massively be improved. Which is arguably, you know, part of the skill gap, but... I like there to be a skill gap. Do we think that overall the changes to gathering were worthwhile? For my gathering friends out there, do we prefer this expansion's iteration of gathering, or do we prefer the more straightforward, the more simplistic approach of past years? Because and this is where my opinion has changed on this. Going into Dragonflight, I was a big fan of what they were doing with the gathering to make gathering feel more like there was a progression path with it, and that there was, because it used to be gathering, you could pick up herbalism and mining, you'd have it leveled to max by the end of the day, and you'd just be competing with everybody else, and then it came down to who was using the most optimal route and who was doing it for longer, which was getting a bit stale.
Hello there.
In my opinion. So then with Dragonflight, they were giving us sort of, a progression path to it almost. What's this? Oh, it's a pile of dirt that I can't pick up. No, it's rich soil. You're going to get pissed if I start stealing this, aren't you? Lol. I think what they've done... Personally, I think what they've done with gathering is good, but I do think they need to maybe tone it back a touch. Or the alternative is that they need to implement some way to ensure that the baseline materials, so where we've had Hockenbloom and where we've had Ceravite ore, they need to definitely maintain that there's a consistent and steady use for those materials without the need of any other secondary material to go with it. If they are to do that, then gathering will hold value for a lot longer, I feel. And generally, the overall progression of it, I don't think is all that bad. And this is where I don't totally think that gathering feeling grim for a lot of players right now is only because the materials are like borderline. Most of the materials you pick up are borderline useless. If they could address the overabundance of basic ass materials and give people some consistent use for those that keeps their value steady, whilst also not creating like mass inflation from them. Dare I say it, like turn-in quests is a good way to do it. I really thought they were onto something with these turn-in quests. And then they had to go mess it up by insisting there be awakened on all of the turn-ins, which just continues to have the bottleneck being awakened, which I think is an oversight. Do you think Enchanted Crest will go live requiring Jacothis? At this point, yes. There's no reason at this point to believe any otherwise. For sure. I think Dragonflight is way better than anything that came before it, maybe minus the vanilla armor and weaponsmiths, because that actually felt like it was a choice. Well, you could only be one or the other, and then you could pick up these recipes or you could pick up these recipes. That was by definition a choice, but it was obviously cheesed by the fact that you just have two blacksmiths. But I say cheesed, just having two blacksmiths was no easy achievement back in vanilla. Because getting a character to max level in the first place was 70, 80 hours of effort for most people. Manthieus needs to have closed captions turned on so I can still listen to him during meetings. On YouTube, is that not a thing? Oh, on YouTube. I'm streaming in ultra low latency, so there's no closed captions. If I was to stream on low latency mode, I could stream at a higher resolution on YouTube, and you could also have closed captions. YouTube's auto subtitles are probably not too bad either, but they're not available right now. Bunch of ore nodes down here somewhere, although often is. There's one. Randomly floating halfway up a rock, just out of reach. Fun that. Fun times that. Fun times. Stupid game. Right. Oh, stoop. There we go. Got it. Random rock circling flying squirrels, fun too. I guess. Expedition scout packs? Nah, you're alright. We can ignore those. Oh, we need flipping dragon shards to be account wide. I'm kind of annoyed they've not made dragon shards account wide at this point. Maybe that's going to be a 10.2.5 thing. Maybe they didn't want people. I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't. Arguably, dragon shards should have been account wide from day one. They're so difficult to. You can't target farm for dragon shards. They're just something that turn up occasionally. It would have made so much sense for them to be an account wide. This is why sometimes I'm not convinced, like... I mean, I know I sit here and I play this game way too much. And I play it from a very interesting perspective that not many other people do. Or maybe interesting is a tough choice of language there. I play it from a very different perspective than others. But... I'm one person, and I can so very easily see that there are just super, to me, what feel like super obvious improvements to things. And either, in my opinion, there's only two options here. Either Blizzard don't see these problems in the first place, and that's due to just hacking it together without really much care or love. Or, the more sinister approach is that they see the problems and they're intentionally there for a reason. So I don't know really which is worse. Being a, you know, because you can't necessarily have, you can't, you know, if you don't do something because of some sort of like level of ignorance to a thing, that's not really as heinous as deliberately choosing to have a negative thing in the game. I don't know. I've really butchered my description of that, but I hope you get what I mean. This is where the phrase "everything is done for a reason" comes from. You know, even if it seems to be an overall net negative, there still could be a very strong active reason why that is a thing. And when we talk about the economy in WoW, and we talk about gold specifically, there is that direct link between Blizzard making money and us being able to generate gold in the game. And where does that balance? Always interests me. And it's why I tend to think that they are super silent about it, and why that we don't really see much sort of like dev talks about like their reasonings behind doing profession changes, or even any of the profession change. Look how much of the profession stuff often goes almost entirely undocumented. And is left for people to just find it out. How many fragments is that? 3 fragments. Is it 6 per week of these you can get? I think it's 6. Can usually get this done within an hour or so. 5 1s and 1 3. Yeah, okay. That's cool. Whoops, that wasn't the plan. Oh, flipping hell, it's Sarah. Right, I can't be bothered. Wasn't the last change to crafting orders the one that allowed orders without mats? That's a wild one. Seems like they forgot about a pillar. Yeah, that decision still boggles my mind. That decision is almost a middle finger to everybody that was complaining about public orders. That's basically all it was, right? People were complaining that they never see any public orders without strictly understanding why they never see any public orders. The reason they never see any public orders is because they were borderline instantly filled. It was the public orders were literally a right place at the right time system. They always were from the word go. You have to provide all the materials. That's always going to be the way it's going to work. You're not going to casually stroll up and have there be a list of 20 outstanding public orders, because of course they're going to get instantly filled, because there's no reason for you to not fill them. And so Blizzard were clearly sick of everybody complaining about something that was an inevitability. And so they were just like, right, well, fuck you then. We'll make it so that people don't have to provide the materials, so there'll always be outstanding orders, none of which you'll ever want to fill. That was an active decision, an active Blizzard decision to make the system worse. Which is wild, right? Actually wild. They actively went out of their way to make a system worse to shut people up. There's no other way you can sell that change. There genuinely isn't. There's actually no other way you could possibly sell that change. There's no amount of positivity you could put on that change to swing it in the other direction. It was literally, right, you want to see public orders? Well, the only way you're going to see public orders is if they end up being orders that are like nobody else wants to do. But that was also a change that I think was very clearly in the hands of somebody that didn't create the original system. Hey, look, Duck is. Quack, quack. Duck family. We talk about squirrels. Now we got ducks. You're not looking at it from the buyer's perspective now, though. Casual don't want to look up all the stuff they need for his new staff. He just wants to pay for it in gold. What they should have is the market price for the materials and tell the buyer the price for those materials before they fill in the commission. No. What they should do is point that exact player to the auction house. That exact player that doesn't want to provide any of the materials and just wants the item for gold should buy it from the auction house. That's the point, right? Like, that player should not be pointed at the crafting order system in the first place. We already had the system that works perfectly fine for that individual. It's called the auction house. If they want a customized variation of that, that should also be possible. But if you want a custom order of something, just like in real life, if you go to a hardware, if you find a carpenter to make you a custom table, you, by proxy of wanting a custom table, also understand what you want that table made out of, the size of that table that you want. You know shit about it. That's why you want a custom order in the first place. If you just want a generic ass table, you go to IKEA and you buy one. This is the point. There is absolutely no way to look at them allowing you to do public orders with no materials as any other way but to shut people up. That's exactly what it was. No mats minimum 10k. If you give the mats, it's then an optional tip. That would be quite amusing. The carpenter would obtain the materials they need and then bill you for them. They wouldn't force you to provide the wood, the nuts, the bolts, the glue, etc. And yes, there is an option to provide the wood, let's say if you want it to be a specific piece. I mean, the analogy is not perfect, but like it showcases what I mean, that, you know, that scenario, that type of player was already for, like, the player that just wants to spend some gold to buy the thing already had a perfectly good system to do exactly that. But Blizzard's prior choice to make all of the crafted gear bind on pickup made it so that the only feasible way to acquire that was then via the new crafting order system. These are some of the decisions that I think are... They are not decisions that are done for the overall player, I don't think. This is the thing that gripes me more than anything else. I don't even care about like the profitability of any of this. It's just like some of the decisions that were made with crafting were very clear to promote the use of a system at the expense of the player. They were more of a hindrance to the player in most cases. There's always outliers. But generally, overall, they were a greater inconvenience to the player than the system we already had. So why was it added to the game in that regard? How was it added in that fashion? Why would you actively choose to make a system that's objectively worse than the one you already had? Why are you choosing to go backwards? Why are you putting time and effort into going backwards? It makes no sense. Literally shitting on your own doorstep at that point. How are you doing, Drizzling Rose? Welcome in. You caught me mid rant. Welcome in. I hope you're well. Primal one. Should we overload a primal one? Overloading primal ones are always fun. Rousing air. Ah, okay. Maybe not so fun. I bet they had a great plan on paper. Yeah, this is the thing. I do suspect they had better plans on paper, but were not able to actually put it into practice. It claims there's a herb around here. I can't see it though. I'll have this instead. There's almost certainly a awesome version outlined on their Trello boards or whatever, but somebody went, we don't have time for that. Drop that bit. Get out the minimum viable product, yeah. Well, that's how it felt with work orders. That's how it felt. It was odd how we learned about the work order system really early. It was clearly a core part of their... It was clearly a core part of their sort of design philosophy. Because we learned about the crafting order system really, really early on in Dragonflight's development. But then it took up until the very last minute for us to actually see a working version of it. I wonder how many variations of they went through internally to get to the one that they actually pushed. Because it was hella broken on on the Dragonflight beta, like for the entire time. Totally busted. No UI elements, seemingly no background elements available for testing at nearly any point. They dumped a version on us 2 weeks before the expansion went launched, and that's what it went live with. Like, I very, very definitely feel that they probably went through 3 or 4 iterations and were just like, right, we have to get something because this is a core aspect of the professions and we need to have something and we'll fix it later. And unfortunately, later never really happened. Who remembers the fact that we were meant to have public recrafts as well? And that was canned very last minute, presumably due to some technical reason. Well, we'll see if whatever they announce at BlizzCon has any ability to pique my interest. I have a sneaky suspicion, though. I have a sneaky suspicion I'm not going to get access to the alpha or the beta this time. I have a sneaky suspicion. Because on Bad Monkey, yeah, mate, I'm not sure, you know, I'm not sure. I think sometimes I'm probably perceived as being too critical. On multiple occasions, I've sort of reached out and attempted to integrate myself more with Blizzard, and rarely has any effort been reciprocated. Which leads me to worry that I might not necessarily get the same privileges I had with BFA and Dragonflight. I hope I do. I hope I do. Too passionate for my own good, yeah. I don't know. What's going on here? There's a war going on. I think their logic was the following. Before Shadowlands, we want players to buy tokens. Let's make them buy legendaries. Oh, damn, there's too much gold being generated and nobody's buying tokens. On the contrary, some people made billions. Okay, let's make gold impossible to get for both crafters and buyers. There's very clearly... I mean, Blizzard have had this hands-off approach forever, right? And in a way, it's good that they do. They've had the hands-off approach where they try to step in and do as little as they can get away with the economy. And actually, that's the best thing for them to do. Without question, that's the best thing for them to do. They control the amount of gold that is made in the game through quests, through world quests, through dailies, through mission tables. They control how much goes in, and they control how much goes out. They control how much goes out by, repair costs, by auction house cut, by 50,000 gold vendor transmog items for 2 days. They have ways and means of controlling how much gold goes into the game and how much gold comes out of the game. What goes on in the middle, every single thing that goes on in between those two events is kind of left to the players to just do their own thing with. Now, they do have some control over it. They obviously have control over what materials go into crafting and in, what crafts are going to likely to be the ones that everybody wants. They do have a little bit of control there. Like, that's a balancing thing. But generally, their hands-off approach is actually beneficial. But I also then think it means that there is some stuff that does happen in the middle that just doesn't get looked at all. Because Blizzard probably has a graph that says, this much gold is being made on average daily, and this much gold is leaving the game. And as long as those numbers are quite close, there's no reason to... The theory of if it's not broke, don't fix it, I would love at some point to see some of the data that Blizzard gets for the economy in the game. I think it would be super interesting to see. Only because I'm a geek, mind, but I do think it'd be very impressive to see just how much gold is made by people running around doing world quests, for example. You can guess, you can sort of do some napkin maths to try and figure it out, but we don't, we're kind of a bit scuffed from the word go because we don't strictly even have a great idea about how many people play the game. They stopped telling us that sort of very basic information years ago. So when you're extrapolating from guessed estimation numbers in the first place, you can't expect your answer to be very accurate. So I think it'd be really kind of quite cool to see just how much stuff, what does genuinely flow through the auction house on a daily basis, weekly basis. Are patch days and season launch days just monstrous for auction house traffic, for example? Would you apply for the community council? No, this is one of the problems. I've been very open in my disagreement with the community council. I would be more open to being on the community council, for example, if it was not just a publicly open forum, but a publicly open because the community council forums right now, it's a closed environment it's walled off. There's 4 walls, but there's 4 windows on on the walls, right? So everybody can look in, but nobody can do or say anything about what they see, right? Which I think is the really, really bad approach to it. You could have it very simply so that the community council are the only people that are able to maybe put forward threads for discussion, but removing the ability for General Joe to have any discussion on the topic, I think is tragic. It creates an echo chamber. Way more so than we actually need. And then I don't particularly think it's all that great because it's not a community council unless the people are chosen by the community. Blizzard shouldn't be the ones in control of deciding who is on the community council or not. It makes no sense. It's like, oh, I'm just going to pick my favourites and not pick the people I don't like. It was just the community council was just a PR spin. They had, you know, Blizzard and Activision had a few boo-boos going on, some pretty large political problems. They needed to feel as if they were doing something. They're like, right, we'll whack together a community council. Now all of a sudden we're fair and we're inclusive. Well, not really. Not really. There's posts in Samadan's weekly blog. The person says he makes around 200k per week on 16 alts, I think from world quests and a bit of augment runes. Yeah, there's no doubt that that guy is probably playing the game 12 hours a day. And his perception of value is based upon the fact that he is more than happy and comfortable to do that. And he's probably making more gold than he's ever had before in his life. And probably lives, I would suspect, somewhere to where the viability of buying tokens just isn't even an option. You know, that doesn't paint the full picture. But what it does do is go to showcase just to what extremes people are willing to go to make gold. And that, you know, I don't know where I was going with that comment, but yeah, I've seen things like that pop up. If you've got 15 alts, you've firstly had to level 15 alts. You firstly then have to go and do all of the world quests on your map on 15 characters. Break that down. There's 7 days in a week, right? That means you have to fully clear the map on 2 characters a day. In fact, no, because the world quests reset halfway through the week. So you would need to, every single day, clear the map on 4 characters. So that after 3 days, you've done 12 characters, and then the world quests reset, and you can go back to the beginning and do it again. Doing world quests, doing every single world quest that can provide you gold on your map on 4 characters is easily a few hours work. Let's say it's like 45 minutes per character for quick maths, right? You're then looking at like 45, okay, I don't know, whatever. It's like 3 hours. 3 hours a day, every single day, 7 days a week, to just keep up with doing world quests on that many characters. Which by the time you've extrapolated that over a week, that's 20 plus hours a week just doing world quests to make 200k a week. So when you actually break that down, 20 hours in a week to make 200k, you're doing 10k an hour. So it still takes you 40 hours of effort doing something that you probably don't particularly enjoy too much because you're doing it for the purpose of making gold. 40 hours worth of effort to get a single token's worth of gold. Whereas if you happen to live it, like, I don't like putting this as a viable option for people because I like to talk within the 4 walls of the game. But $20, most people could, you know, they go to work for a couple of hours. Let's say you make minimum wage, 15 euros an hour. 15 euros an hour minus your expenses, you're probably left 3 or 4 euros an hour. 4 or 5 hours work at your job, you should be able to, in theory, buy a token, right? But there should, in theory, be something better in the game for people to do than grind world quests on 10 plus characters. You are at that point likely spending at least 50% of your allocated playtime. And this is if you are somebody that's happy to play 40 hours a week, right? Most people don't even like working 40 hours a week. There's only 168 hours in a week. You spend a good chunk of those asleep, regenerating. You then designate a whole bunch of those to working, so you have money to live and survive. If you then have 40 spare of them to play a video game, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. It's actually madness. This is why I will never, ever, 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 ever recommend people go out farming as a way to make their token. No chance. No way am I ever going to do it, because I just think that's horrendously bad advice. Don't go out farming to make gold. Go out farming because you're trying to get something that you want and that you enjoy doing it whilst you're doing it. Once you've got that thing that you want, go somewhere else in the game and get something else that you want. And if during that process you come across extra things that you didn't want, then sell them on the auction house and consider it like a byproduct. Consider your goal making a byproduct of enjoying playing the game. If you enjoy collecting mounts, go run some old dungeons that have some mounts in. Go grind some old reps that allow you to get some stuff. All of the time that you're playing the game, you're likely picking up other stuff. It's not super efficient for goal making, but you're not truly dedicating time to doing it specifically. The only time you should really be focused on goal making is if there's something that you can do that's so good goal per hour you just cannot, that you'd almost be foolish not doing it because it's excessively above average or borderline broken, and take advantage of it, you know, make hay whilst the sun shines. First 4 weeks of a patch, for example, perfectly justified within the first 4 weeks of a patch, spending a whole bunch of your time making as much gold as you can, because often there are ways and means where you can just make silly amounts of gold. Then for the rest of the patch, for the rest of the expansion, whatever the case may be, feel content in not doing it. Go do something else. I know this, you know, this is kind of a weird thing to state from somebody that, you know, makes a living from teaching people how to do this, but to tell you to not do it, but is minimum wage €15 an hour? Not really, no. I'm talking about, you know, first world countries here. There is, I don't think there is strictly what's considered a minimum wage, but let's be real. Most people living in, you know, France or Germany or Denmark or Netherlands or Sweden or Finland or you know, wherever, like the more affluent countries, as soon as you start offering less than €15 an hour, you are going to dramatically reduce the quality of the people, of the work that you will get. If you are a business that is worth, that knows what they're doing, they will, you know, pay a wage that people actually want to work for. Taran Mill doing a rift and it's me versus 30 alliance? You found all 30 alliance on Taran Mill? Congratulations. You found all 30 of them. They've clearly made some alts because there wasn't that many last time. I've been looking for a second job that I can do in the evenings. Not even interested in anything less than £18 an hour. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, this is why a lot of European countries don't strictly have a minimum wage policy, because people kind of proactively set that themselves, of that they're just not going to apply for the job if it doesn't provide enough money. It's not too problematic to be fussy in that regard. It's a problem if you don't have the qualifications or the experience to back up your desire for more money, though. But that's a different topic of conversation completely. Why is there all these caves with nothing in them? What's the point of having caves with nothing in them? Fun fact, Sweden does not have a minimum wage. Yeah, I don't think many European countries actually do. I know Finland also doesn't have a minimum wage. And it's often because for the aforementioned reasons, right? That if you try and fuck people over, they're just not going to work. They're just not going to come to work. You need to maintain a basic quality of living. And also, I would imagine that the welfare opportunities in most European countries are reasonable enough that whilst it's never fun to be on any form of welfare, I would imagine that the welfare is often strong enough that people do not feel incentivized to take like €7 an hour jobs, because they actually would be better off on welfare at that point. You could be on welfare and at night school, gaining some, Oh, that's the epic one. That means we are done for mining. We need to do more herbalism. Like I said, it depends on the type of person you are, really, but any periods in my life where I've had to utilize welfare, I've never enjoyed doing it. I always would be proactively looking for a way to not have to take it. No, I don't know. I don't think most people enjoy taking money for free. And arguably, this is why in a lot of countries in Europe, Finland especially, people in Finland are happy to pay their taxes, because it then means if for whatever reason they are out of work at any period in time, they then know that there is a good chance that the welfare system's going to look after them, and that their taxes are being utilised effectively. And your welfare is often based upon a percentage of what your past earnings were, which is, in my opinion, a smart way of doing it. Welfare is effectively the minimum wage. Yeah, you could consider that. This stream has become very political today, hasn't it? I apologise. I try to keep politics out of the stream. This is probably my own fault. I guide the conversation most of the time, so I apologise. I try to keep an environment where people can watch streams and not have to think about this sort of stuff. Will you go away, hippo? Gotcha. Haha. Mine. My herbs. Welfare pension in Sweden's bonkers. You get more from not working an hour in your life in guaranteed pension than like 5% below the average salary. Than you get from 5%. Than you get from 5% below the average salary. I'm not sure I understand that. My brain stopped working. I'm sure you said all sensible words, but my brain didn't get it. I get about $3 an hour here, but then 1 megawatt hour costs $15. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because everywhere is going to be slightly different, and I can only talk from my experience. And I've only ever lived in 2 countries, the UK and Finland. So I feel I have a slightly better perspective than most because I have lived in different countries. But at the same time, I know that it's not that varied. Welfare in Denmark, 11.52 after taxes. Now, I mean, 11.52 after taxes is not bad at all, is it really? I mean, it's by no means comfortable living, but you're not on the street. Let's put it that way. You're not going to be rocking a Lamborghini anytime soon, but you're equally probably going to be able to eat food and not worry about it. This thing's going to ping me. Yep, there we go. Started with praising WoW Grandma for being energetic, then British taxes, then hoping old people would die. This is why I shouldn't do gathering. This is why you should never get me out gathering. I let my brain run wild, and verbal diarrhea kicks in. This is why I shouldn't do gathering. Gathering's bad for me. Bad for my mental health. Bad for my streaming career if I accidentally say something really stupid. Never mind making gold. If I do too much gathering, I could cost myself a lot of real money. Being politically correct is difficult sometimes. Where is me last herbalism ones? I need 2 more herbalism points. So just don't be so politically correct. That's not the best business decision for me, if I'm honest. I don't need to have too much of a filter, because I tend to believe in the fact that I'm not an absolute moron. But at the very same time, political correctness is actually mental. Hey, there's one. Dream Bloom. We should get the epic one next. Epic one next. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I can smell it. I can smell it, but I can't see it. Silent but violent. Where's it gone? No. There it is. You think the talking subjects would be better if you're barking in trade to get work orders? Oh no, no, I'd be raging if I was having to do that. Mature Gift of the Grove. What is that? Oh, Dragon Ale supplies. Oh, I thought that was some magic treasure I'd missed. Why is there a quest on my map? Who are you? Who are you and why are you a quest? Oh! For a minute there, I thought I was on my main character, and I was like, huh? I'm not, am I? I'm on my druid. That's why there's quests. I don't clear the map of quests on my alt. That is crazy talk. That's why Friday streams are the best. It's only Thursday, though. It's only Thursday. Or at least it was last time I checked. How long have I been gathering for? They say time flies when you're having fun, apparently, so... My brain is still completely screwed over by the fact that the clocks changed at the weekend. And it doesn't help. I didn't realise this, right? But my dogs have also clearly got a very strict routine. So much so that, obviously, my dogs have got no idea that clocks change because they don't tell the time. They don't look at clocks. They know what time of day it is, but you know, by whether their bladder's full or their belly's empty. That's how my dogs tell the time. But it greatly confused all of us when the clocks changed. All of a sudden, my dogs were starting asking for food at the wrong time, and the sun didn't come up, and it all went horribly wrong. Can we go? We need to stop messing around with these clocks business at this point. The world's too complicated to have the clocks changing twice a year. Too many other shit to worry about. It's been 3 years you're in the zone from 2 expansions ago. Oh dear. Oh dear. Time travelled. Wasn't there a place in Europe where they don't change the times anymore? I think somewhere has made that choice. I don't know where. I definitely. Well, you know, there's always discussions and rumours about it every time, isn't there? So it could just be a passing thought. But I'd also heard somewhere has decided to just give it up because it's a waste of time. No pun intended. I don't recognise you. I'm not going to start messing around killing rares. Are we still... Yeah, missing one. We need the epic herbalism one. My inner collector screams at you right now, kill it. If it had a toy or something on it, I would, but it was just random Mog. I don't go too far out of my way to get Mog. Especially on alts. If I was on my main, I probably would. But as it's a leather wearer on a class that I don't particularly play other than gathering on. Alright, come on game. One more herbalism one. Is this going to be it? Should we do an overload on the windswept? Whee! Okay, that's everything. A few more Wraith Barks for my trouble. Where's it gone? There it is. Iceland, Russia, Belarus and Turkey have all given up the clocks changing business. Not necessarily all places I want to take, I want to follow in suit from, but there we go. Got it. Got it! We are done with our herbalism and mining for the week. And we have a bag full of goodies for our efforts. Let's head back to Valdraken. Oh, I was meant to do a rift on this dude. I've missed it again. Damn. I think that took me, what did it take? About an hour to do my herbalism mining. A little bit longer than I probably should have spent doing it, but it's all good. We got 1 bonus for mining. Not a single dragon shard, though. Okay, let's spend some points. Spend some points. Increases your ability to extract primary ores from the deposits. Gain +1 finesse per point in this specialization. I can put all 12 points in here and then be 1 off the final node. God, that's annoying. That's the kind of thing that makes my OCD melt inside. Being 1 point off. Alright, it's fine. Being 3 points off here is equally frustrating. So 1, 2, 3. Your advanced knowledge of cultivation has owned you, allowing you to find seeds more often than before whilst gathering herbs. Alright, sure. What's this one? Improve at using your herbalism tools, gaining +1 deafness per point in this specialization whilst gathering herbs. The plant creatures of the Dragon Isles sometimes absorb the elements of the land. When gathering from these creatures, you have a chance to gather these elements from them. Your domain knowledge reaches new heights and you gain +25 skill when gathering lush herbs. I mean, whatever. At this point, I'm not doing it in any particular order or for any rhyme or reason. Throw points in, get it done. My rep with this character is insufficient to buy books anywhere and probably will be insufficient for some time. So there's no real options there for me. I'm not trying to min-max my knowledge on this dude anyway. I'm just doing, you know, the bare basics each week just to keep it ticking over. Okay, nice. Nice! Do we do skinning? Should we get skinning out the way? Considering we have some elusive creatures to bait for skinning come the new zone. We should probably... where did I get to with skinning? Where did I get to? I tell you what, I do need. I've been talking way too much. I need a drink. I'll be back in 2 minutes, boys and girls. I'm going to take a quick break for 2. Grab a drink, bathroom break. You know the score. Don't even bother with gathering skinning because I know I'm too lazy to do it for more than 20 to 30 minutes. I know how you feel. I know exactly how you feel. Can relate. Can relate on the basis that I have only green tools on my Skinner and have a grand total of 30 points. Goes to show just how much skinning I don't do. How many skinning points were even obtainable? 40, 40, 40. That's 120. Plus 40, 80, 120, 160. Plus 40, 80, 120. There's only 400 points for skinning? Damn. Is that like the lowest of any of the professions? I think it is, you know. I think that's genuinely the lowest of any professions. I'm still less than 10% of the way there, mind. But it's taken me a year. I am averaging less than one skinning point a week. How about that, boys and girls? And I've played since the start of the game. I'm averaging less than one skinning point a week. Check me out. Oops. Damn, I didn't realise you need so few points in skinning. I should pull my finger out, shouldn't I, really? I can't do gathering, I lose my mind and start talking about EU politics. Hey, that sounds like a shot to me. That sounds like a shot in the dark. It stings. Got me straight through the heart. Not done much gathering this expansion, mostly because my chronic pain hasn't agreed with dragon riding. I mean, there's better. That is a good reason to not do gathering, but there's better reasons to not do gathering. Being that it's quite a chore.
How are you? Safe travels.
A dense delivery, 2 dense hides. Well, that's easy enough. Yoink. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't pick up those books that I ordered, did I? Oops. Anybody want to fill another... anybody want to fill another book order for me? On Draenor. With as many materials as I have. I don't have any more public ones. I'll send you a private one. Who am I sending it to? Okay. Let's go. Let me quickly, whilst you're filling that one, go and grab the other 2 that I forgot. Let's grab the 2 I forgot over here. Still baffles me Blizzard is forcing people through all the Dragonflight stuff to be able to get access to the old flying in Dragonflying zones. Well, they've removed the renown requirement, so realistically at that point, it's exploration and it's doing the quests, the storyline campaign in the main zones, which is not really that much of a requirement, right? If you never played in patch 10.0, though, I can semi understand not particularly wanting to go and do all of the storylines in the main zones, but in my opinion, it's a small price to pay if you really want that flying. What else have we got in our bags here? What's all this? Oh, random mog. Random mog. Insignia gloves. Insignia legs. Scaled leather boots. Emblazoned hat. Three pairs of those. Flickering shoulder pads of the Fever Flare. Ah, random Firelands appearance. Glowing wing braces. These are also a Firelands appearance, apparently. Another quick squirrel to keep us busy.
I have many, many wares. Many farewells.
Removing of the Zarelek renown is awesome. I still don't even have 5 renown, really. I leveled it on my main and leveled some of my alts high enough to get barter boulders, so like 12, which I think realistically, once you'd already done it once, was like maybe an hour of campaign quests in the zone, not much at all. Which for alts is fine. You don't use the weekly week aura to track the knowledge points you get each week. I did while I was doing it on professions I cared about. The crafting professions, yes, I used the week aura to make sure I min-max those until they were all done. The gathering stuff, I'm only doing it just because kind of it would be quite nice to eventually be able to say that I do actually have everything, not just the professions that I consider worthwhile having. That's my approach anyway. There we go. Appreciate that. Oh, whoa. What's this? What's this? Oh, that's the order I cancelled, I see. Let's now actually use the book. It'd be silly to buy it and then not use it. Did I use the... I don't know. My bags are in absolute state again. Actual state. Let's do a quick amnesty. God, is this going to end up being a daily thing where I have to do a bag cleaning situation? Woolly pelt, whatever, go away. Disenchant it? Eh? Oh. This item cannot be destroyed. How do I get rid of that then? Can't be vended, can't be destroyed. Well, I guess that's destined to be in my bags forever then. Great. Love that, Blizzard. Thanks. I guess I should pick up enchanting again just to disenchant this, just to get it out of my bags. Dear Lord. Enter an enchanter. This character was, once upon a time, temporarily for about 5 minutes. I can't even remember why. Genuinely can't remember why. Void storage it? Yep. I think it is. This week is awesome for rep grind. That is very true, actually. This week is an absolute banger for doing rep grinds or finishing off rep that you need. Not only can you funnel rep from alts pretty quickly by doing a bunch of world quests on them, but you can also get like 5,000 rep with the faction of your choice really easily by doing the 2 weeklies. What? If ever there is an item that makes absolutely no sense for it being the price that it is, say hello to the Primal Cape. Say hello to the Primal Cape. What? 45,000 gold, region market 30,000 gold? What? Vendor, see you later. Most of the old grey mog is expensive. Yeah, it makes no sense. Wow. Get rid of you. Deadly Sinvir ring. I can't imagine we need that anymore. Illustration of the Dragon Soul. Can't imagine we need that either. That needs to be sent somewhere. Let's make a row. Oh, these are soul-bound. Ugh. Let's make a row of things that need to be sent somewhere. Random ass old materials. This is probably from skinning. A Spellfire Oil Fire Artifact Relic. Nope. Vendor. Dragonhide Bag. 22 slot bag. Vendor. Dilated Time Capsule. Oh, this character's level 70 now. I can actually use that. That's what I'm up to currently. Rep grinds. Finished off some of the Wrath ones last week. I needed now doing some BFA and Shadowlands ones. I'm getting really quite far with my main character now, actually. We crossed the 100. We crossed the 100 factions at Exalted last week, I think. So we're moving forward with the reps. Do I need another shield? No. Horseman's Helm. Should we put the Horseman's Helm on just because it's fun? Nah, see you later. Sell. Just trying to make sure that none of these BOEs are actually valuable. Very rarely does it happen, but I'd feel silly if I accidentally vended a 50k random item or something. Because every little helps, you know. Have I still got my flight whistle? I've still got my flight whistle in the bags. Oh dear. Oh dear. You can tell I don't clean my bags out very often when I've still got silly things like that lying about. Random ass cheap ass potions. No, just sell it. Get rid of it. Well, here we go. This is progress. We've liquidated nearly everything here, look.
May your feet find
Proper
good
job,
fare.
that. Mailbox. Send all of this away. And then let's do one of these to just clear out everything else. See you later. Beautiful. Right, that's as clean as bags ever get. Cleanest bags ever get. Now to go do some skinning for a while to get our weekly skinning stuff. Should we go back to Timber Step Outpost? That's probably a simple, easy spot for some skinning. 17,000 vials left to sell. Is that it? Slacker. Absolute slacker. Well done, Drizzling Road. I commend you on your efforts with alchemy. I commend you, I really do. Have they actually fixed the vendor cell auto alert? It's still only for white and greys. There was shenanigans going on with it, so they had to change it. I tell you what, one thing I would vastly petition for is being able to... I would love it if we were able to go out transmog farming on any character and any item we get, be able to harvest the... How is this dude able to skin these and they disappear? Motherfucker. Share the wealth. What dickbag? How's that possible? If I sell them for 200 gold each, that comes out at 3.4 mil. Spent 1.5 on mats. It's a good return, you know. Definitely a good return. Survival Hunter. Survival Hunters do outrageous single target DPS on world content like this. Curious hide scraps. And it begins. Honestly, I should probably be doing this as I don't really particularly need to be prot for this. I should probably go ret. Although saying that, I don't even think I've got a 200 weapon, do I? I've probably just vended my 200 weapon. That was silly of me. Oh well. It's not the first time we've done that in the last few weeks. I mean, if anybody else wants to come and get some skinning done for the week, let me know. I can put a group together. 2x4 skinning is a thing. If you want to come over this way, you can. These are on a hyperspawn after all. How's your final prep for 10.2? There isn't really much prep I felt the need to do, but this is mostly because I played 10.1 enough to feel finished with 10.1. Getting the Niffen rep to max is one of those things that is just not an essential thing to do, but a nice to have, because then it's like, you know, done. Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of keeping my lesser used professions ticking over in the downtime before 10.2, getting some, you know, there's nothing really major, nothing urgent. That's the thing. It's and this is mostly on the basis that there's not a vast amount of new. I mean, it's very difficult to consider there being much new at all in the new patch, goblin-wise. A couple of new recipes to collect, but they're going to drop from the raid, so they're either going to require you to just be breaded enough to be willing to buy the recipe like day one, or be lucky enough to get it to drop in your raid group and be assigned it. Or, you know, maybe make sure that you've got enough materials ready to do some crafting and are not reliant on the region's prices for materials. Not that I think materials are going to move much in value, because there's not I mean, people will want shit crafted, sure, but I'm not convinced materials are going to do much of anything ridiculous. So this is why I've not stockpiled any materials at all. But equally, I think I'm maybe being slightly more cautious this time around after losing a lot of gold in 10.1. So yeah, I don't know. Will there be a longer than usual stream on patch day? Probably patch day, yeah. There's Twitch drops as well. There's Twitch drops out and about for the patch. So I'll yeah, we'll be streaming significant amount on patch day. The goal making won't be happening then though. The goal making will be the season launch. That's also when I'm not 100% sure if I'll be streaming it or not, which sounds silly. But the way that I will probably choose to make most of my gold will be via the region-wide auction house, which is more difficult to stream, but we'll see. If you go to BlizzCon next year, will you do a fan meetup? It's very unlikely. Truth be told, even if... it's very unlikely I will be doing BlizzCon. Simply because it's A, expensive, and B, it's on the other side of the world. It's the main thing for me. It's literally on the other side of the world. I'm in a position where luckily I can do this pretty much as a living, but at the same time it's not a super lucrative living. I'm not, you know, I'm not making so much money that I can easily drop 2,000 or 3,000 euros to, you know, go on a BlizzCon holiday, unfortunately, and I'm unlikely to be in that position for a while. But obviously, theoretically, if, yes, I was to go to BlizzCon, I would more than happily meet up with some of you guys. Not in the Millionaire Streamers group. I know. Shocking, right? Do you think it's worth to do the ult to renown 10 and then your main? Now that they nerfed the rep buff trick, the 50% extra rep that comes from the Dream Surge. Well, yeah, I mean, that's probably the way I'm going to do it. It's still likely to be possible to get renown 10 pretty quickly. And on that basis, it just makes more sense that if you only ever plan to really do the full rep grind on your main, to do up to 10 on an ult first, because 10 shouldn't be too problematic if you are playing in the new zone a reasonable amount. 10 should be pretty easy to achieve. And then once you've got the 50% boost, then jump onto your main. Let's be real that, you know, you got a week before anything really kicks off in 10.2 anyway, until the season launches. So there's probably time to get to 10 on an ult, and then easily 10 plus again on your main, even with some of the cheese being uncheesed. Tax write off the holiday. Well, sort of. I'd not played since Wrath came back in Shadowlands. Rolled a Paladin DPS the first dungeon I ran. I cast Bop on the tank because I didn't know he'd use threat. People died. Oh, every Paladin's been there. Every Paladin's thrown a bubble out and it gone horribly wrong. That's normal practice. Don't worry about that. We've all been there. The recipes BOE or bind on pickup? The raid ones will be bind on equip. Why is the 12.5% drop rate item in normal Oldman take me 20 runs? Probably because Wowhead data's not very accurate. That's one thing I've learned anyway. The Wowhead, like the drop rates and things that Wowhead has are only from a very small selection of people that also have the Wowhead add-on. It's ATT data. That might be slightly more accurate, but maybe just unlucky. Maybe just unlucky. It's only 12.5% until you want it, yeah. Then it goes down to 1%. God, killing this dude wasn't worth the time, was it? Will the Lariat still be a thing in 10.2? I think the Lariat will be about the same as it is now, to be honest. You know, we'll wait until the Sims do Sim things, really. I don't think... I mean, it's not going to be Season 1 level crazy. There's very little chance of it being Season 1 level crazy. It might have slightly more use than it did in Season 2. But I don't think it'll make much. Crafted gear is, whilst it's crafted gear is like, is it 3 item levels lower in Season 3? They've taken a bit of the emphasis off crafted gear for some reason. That's not to say that nobody will want crafted gear, but I'm not sure that the demand for crafted gear will be as strong, or at least it won't be so much on people's BIS list as much. Unless it just so happens that their chosen embellishment lands on the right slot for a crafted piece as well. I don't know. I don't. One thing I'm historically not very good at is knowing like the perfect gear that everybody wants, because I don't roll in those groups. It takes a while for BIS lists to, you know, come out. I certainly wouldn't buy it. If your secondary backup question to that was, should I buy the recipe? The answer is always no. Always no. At its current price, it's based upon the fact that it's just incredibly rare. And people can list it for 2 million gold and sit on it, and it probably will eventually sell to somebody at 2 million gold, because there's about 20 of them in the whole EU. Did you end up getting Arthas? No, unfortunately not. No, Arthas will have to wait till next year. It looks like the Spore Cloak will be very good for many classes. The shield was nerfed, but now it gives verse. Does that push it more into PvP? Probably not though, right? Probably not, since it won't have the item level boost. I don't know. There's another curious hide. That's 4 of them. Hey, we've got these quite quick this week. It's not taking too long at all. Verse can be good for Mythic Plus, I suppose, yeah. A non-dead DPS is preferable, right? Or, well, a non-dead anybody is preferable. It might not be a terrible idea to jump back on the PTR, just in case there's... what time is it? I'm just thinking, if I can get this skinning done. I'm just wondering if after we do this skinning, we can spend half an hour quick fire through the professions on the PTR, just to see if we can spot any obvious changes. There was a mini patch that went out on the PTR. The documented changes are only like little subtle class balance things, but you never know. They could slip in some profession stuff that goes amiss. That does frequently happen. There's a new skinning item for the new zone, the antlers. Yeah, I know about the antlers. It's an elusive skinning farm. It's basically the same as the obsidian Cobra skin, was it called? The skinners will presumably have a once a day chance at getting it. Same sort of mechanic. It's used in a few more. It's used in a few more recipes this time, though. That thing. Whoops, hang on. Hasn't Penguin just done a video on it? I think they've done a video talking about that. It might be worth having a watch, actually. I did say I was going to take a skinner over to the PTR and have a look and a test, but I never got round to it. It's it'll be good for the first couple of days if it's limited to. If you only get one chance at it a day, obviously it'll be good for a while. Although the Obsidian Cobra skin, the reason it held its value so well initially was because nobody A, knew it even existed, and B, nobody knew how to get it. And so there was a few days where people were like, what the hell is this? And it was only when people really started needing it that people were like, oh shit, go farm it. You know, people I think are a bit more prepared this time. They were a bit more prepared because there's less going on. People were far more interested about Dracothists and the new Niffen rep and all sorts of stuff last time to really even give skinning a second thought. So the preparation this time will mean that more skinners will be proactive with it, I reckon. So it won't. I don't think it will be anywhere near as valuable as the Cobra skin was for the first week of the last patch, unless like some outrageous shenanigans happens with it on the auction house, which is always possible. I mean, yeah, this is also the thing, right? It's not realistically used in the first week because it's only going to be the new recipes that are going to use it. So there's 7 days for people to collect them all up and try and sell them and, you know, speculate on them and whatever. Somebody made bank keeping it a secret. Well, I mean, there's no such thing as a secret in this game, realistically, anymore. Everything is, like, very, very well documented before it even goes live. This is why you have to be first to the market, really. Preparation is key, and hence why the like gold making scene nowadays has predominantly turned into. You make a vast amount of your gold before the patch even goes live. If you are buying and reselling anything, and often if that thing is materials, you're going to make... You're going to buy when the prices of materials are at an all-time low. You're going to probably time your purchase to just before or very soon after a PTR build drops. Then you buy a bunch of shit, wait for speculation to kick in, and then end up selling everything that you bought for twice the price to all the people speculating. And then when patch day lands and the prices then tank because everybody tries to dump all of their speculative purchases, the early bird catches the worm and everybody else loses. That's just how... Welcome to the region-wide auction house. It's gross, but that's how it works. Often is the case that you kind of forget that for somebody to make gold, somebody often has to lose gold for you to be able to make gold. There we go. One more. Is it the same for this? We get 5 and then the next one's an epic one? We should be nearly done with our skinning then. This didn't take as long as it took. It took a lot longer last week, I think. I see people farming everywhere but in Zaralek, and I'm always why. You have one more item to drop in the Zaralek. I don't know. The cave is I'd much rather farm in a zone that looks pretty. I know that sounds ridiculous, but this is why when I do most any of my gathering, I'll do it in an Narren Plains, because it just looks nice. Is it the most optimal? Nah, probably not. But I'm not particularly here for optimal. I'm here to get a few knowledge points. It's dumb, I know. This is why you'll often find the first initial zones in expansions where there's a lot more like yellow mobs that are neutral to you, mobs that aren't going to attack. Even though they're not the most, they're rarely the most optimal places to farm. Simply because not everything is always constantly aggroing you. They can actually sometimes be far more simplistic and, dare I say it, enjoyable to farm in. Because you get to focus on what it is you're trying to do. And not randomly having to stop to kill mobs every 5 seconds. Creature comforts, I guess. Cave's just gnarly, smelly, dank. Yeah. Yeah, farming in a cave isn't always fun. Like I said, I'm only doing this predominantly for the knowledge points anyway. Once I've got the knowledge points, we'll put it down again until next week. So if it takes me half an hour, it takes me 45 minutes, it doesn't really make much difference. I'm probably not even going to even attempt to sell any of the stuff I farm anyway. It'll just stay in the bags until I need it somewhere. One more to go. It's a game at the end of the day. Heaven forbid I enjoy the experience. Yeah, this is mostly the reason why I've never been a big fan of farming. Because for the very, very simple reason is that I don't particularly enjoy it. It's quite simple. Don't particularly enjoy farming. Like repeatedly killing mobs like this is, if there's a means to an end, I'll do it. But most often the gold is not attractive enough for me to want to do it. It's why I really love sort of comboing things together, right? I'll go run a dungeon if there's like a pet or a mount or something in there I need and that I actually want, and if I get Mog at the same time, then, you know, bonus! But outside of that, you're unlikely to find me randomly running things just for transmog, for example. This has become even more true as I've sort of loosened the reins on World of Warcraft generally. Now that I'm quite happy and content, you know, dipping in and out of WoW, playing some other games more frequently in between. I really do now focus on mostly only doing the stuff in WoW that I genuinely want to do. It might take me a little bit longer, it might not be anywhere near as efficient, but if the enjoyment factor takes preference over optimization. You can easily optimize the fun out of this game, and I don't particularly want to do that. I mean, some people find great amounts of enjoyment from that level of optimization. So I get the perspective difference. I miss so many pets in there. Really don't bother me. I haven't done a sweep of the Dragon Isles for pets, actually. Well, I was talking about this a little bit earlier. I need to take a little bit of a deeper dive into where the pets, the toys, the mounts are hidden in Dragonflight as an expansion generally, and go hunt those down and target farm those a little bit before the expansion's over. Because I've learned in past years that if I don't do this sort of stuff while it's current content, it's 10 times less likely I'm ever going to go back to do it. I mean, I'm still, you know, I'm still desperately trying to press daily cooldown buttons to finish leatherworking 15 years after it was current content, you know. Hey, there it is. There's my large sample of curious hides. I find it way more difficult to go back and grab things from past expansions. Even though if you like wait 2 expansions, you know, if you go back 2 expansions to the point where everything's considered legacy and you can just one-shot everything, actually your ability to farm for stuff like that is then much faster and far more optimal. But 2 expansions is the sweet spot. Yeah, going back and like completing BFA right now is probably the, you know, now from now onwards is probably a good time to go back and finish off anything you didn't do in BFA. Because you can, for the most part, I imagine, solo pretty much everything in there. Raids and all. I don't think has BFA officially actually been, you know, switched to Legacy yet? I mean, I'm kind of half waiting for them to turn Shadowlands into Legacy content at this point, but no, that's a while off. Should be. Shadowlands, I don't know. No, Shadowlands won't be for a while, but I do think that BFA should be by now. In theory, at least. Farming's best done when there's a good stream to listen to. Doesn't work as well when you're the one streaming, though. Well, yeah, true. That's very true. Okay, we now should have a few more. 41 skinning points. Wow, we're moving up in the world. 10% of the way there. 10% of the way there. I'm wondering if the elusive baiting is the way to go for the study techniques to gather more materials from each creature, gaining +1 finesse while skinning per point in this. Actually, that reminds me. I'm quite sure Penguin did a video on this. I spotted something in my sub feed on YouTube the other day. Oh, she did. Oh, yesterday. How to farm dreaming antler fragments. Make up. Okay, claiming 100k. It's only 8 minutes. I can do in 8 minutes. I'm sure Penguin won't mind some React Andy. She'll tell me otherwise. Let's Go like the video, boys and girls. Go like the video. Make sure you're subscribed to Penguin. You probably already are anyway. If you're not, you should be. Let's make sure we got some sound. And let's turn the tunes off for a second.
Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. In today's video, we are going to be going over how to farm the brand new skinning item in patch 10.2 called the Dreaming Antler Fragment. To those who were active in 10.1, this is the basic 10.2 counterpart to Obsidian Cobra Skin, which means this item is likely going to be very, very expensive. To those who played in early patch 10.1, Cobra Skin was selling from 50 to 100k a piece if you could get your hands on it.
That was the thing, right? Back in the beginning of 10.1, it was more about if you could actually get it, because it's you know, you only had that one chance a day, and more importantly, most people didn't even know where the mob was you needed to skin to try and get it. Even skinners didn't know what they were doing. This time around, though, I suspect that every man and their dog will know about this before it goes live and probably jump on it as a way to potentially try and replicate what happened in 10.1. I think that is likely to push the price way down this time, just because mass knowledge of it is problematic for pricing, but let's see.
So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down why these fragments are even important, the requirements to start farming them, and how to meet those requirements, as well as how to actually farm these fragments yourself.
Didn't have the spec for 10.1.
After all of this is
I've
said
upped
and
it
done,
for it. Yeah.
You can spend about 5 minutes a day attempting to get this fragment, and if you do, that's, you know, 50k in about 5 minutes, which would be amazing. So, alt armies, skinners, get excited, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. And so, to get started, like I said, the Dreaming Antler Fragment is the 10.2
press the button, boys and girls.
Obsidian Cobra Skin. However, it's used to actually craft embellishments instead of armor. If you're a leatherworker and you want to craft the new Verdant Conduit, or a jewel crafter who wants to craft the Dream Tender's Charm, you will be required to either farm these up yourself or buy them from the auction house.
This is one slight subtle change from 10.1, though, in theory. That we know more about this before going into the patch, but there's also going to be more of a demand for them. There was only a handful of items that use the Cobra Skin. Even to this day, I don't actually think much uses the Cobra Skin. Is it called Obsidian Cobra Skin? Reagent 4. The heat-resistant rescue ring. Complete fucking waste. The only reason people crafted that was to get their first-time craft bonus on it. A piece of armor, a weapon, and a piece of armor. Yeah, this meant that these were, you know, the actual use for these was very sporadic. Very, very sporadic. This time, though, it could be far more in demand, which could neutralize the fact that more people know about it. What was it called? Antler or something? Dreaming Antler Fragments. I'm convinced it's used for more than this. I'm quite sure it's used for more than just these two reagents. At least I remember it being used for more than two things. Okay. Either I misremember that, or Wowhead doesn't have the full story. Both which are very viable possibilities. Anyway, let's let Penguin keep talking.
Yourself, or buy them from the auction house. Now, in terms of price, keep in mind I am recording this before 10.2 actually drops, so I don't exactly know what the price is going to stabilize at or anything like that, but like I said, at the start of 10.1, Cobra Skin was going easily for 50k plus, and at the end of patch, it's still going for anywhere between 3 to 7k, so it's definitely worth the investment if you have some extra skinners. And so then moving on, we have the requirements. Now, the reason why I bring up alt armies and all of that is because there's one caveat to this farm. It is technically on a daily cooldown. Basically, the premise is that you're going to be spawning a special creature inside of the new zone, and you have a chance once per day to skin it and get the antler fragments. Technically, you can summon and kill this creature as many times as you want, but only your first kill per day has a chance of actually dropping these rare antler fragments.
Do we know that, though? Do we actually know that? Is that actually documented, that it's only your first kill where there's the chance of getting it? Or is this just sort of by people's... Like, how do we know that? Or are we assuming this? The interesting thing is on Wowhead, there's literally like no comments on this thing at all. Many people have tested it on the PTR, like for the Cobra skin. Many people have tested it and nobody has ever got it on more than their first kill of the day, I suppose. Okay. Regardless of whether you summon it yourself or skin somebody else's.
And so going into requirements,
Okay.
It's actually pretty simple. First things first, you're going to need to pick up skinning and level it to 25 in order to unlock specializations. This should only take about 10 minutes or 15 minutes skinning in the wild. After you do that, the only other requirement is that you need to get 50 knowledge points in order to max out mastery inside of the bait crafter tree. Now, 50 knowledge points definitely sounds like a lot, but if you have been playing the game, you have 3 easy ways to get a ton of knowledge points. Firstly, you need to make your way to the Waking Shores, and there's going to be a Profession Master Skinner on the coast, and just simply
It's like
going
5
up and
points,
talking
right?
to them is going to give you 10 skinning points.
Is it
which
10
just
skinning points?
Super awesome right off
Thought it
the
was
bat.
5.
That's a fifth of what you need. I'll have chords on screen if you want to make your way to that location. After that, you kind of...
Odds on me not having done that. I even know where it is. What's the chance I've never been there? Oh, it was 5 for crafting professions, but 10 for the gathering ones. Ah, okay. As we are right here, right now, we should at least check.
Great fish gather in droves. Go, gather
It's
meat for us.
round
and
here
bring back
somewhere.
Stories of your exploits.
Where is he? There's a frog on a rug. Frog on a rug. Frog on a rog. Rog's not a word. Is he further up this way? He's round here somewhere. There we go. Master Skinner. Huh. I'd never done it. Well, check me. Now we have 51 points. GG. GG, well played. Right, back to the video.
You have 2 options. The recommended path is that you go back to Valdrakken and you pick up 2 of the Artisan Consortium skinning notes for Artisan Metal, and that's going to give you 30 knowledge points. Now, the hard part is that you do need Artisan Metal, and if this is a brand new character, you might not have that. I recommend potentially picking up a crafting profession, as well as completing
5
the
dream
weekly quests
shards.
if you need some metal, but I highly recommend picking up 2 of those notes for an additional 30 knowledge points. After that, assuming you played in patch 10.1, you likely have a Niffin rep, so you're going to make your way over to the Zeralik Caverns, go to the Quartermaster, and you're going to pick up the skinning note from the Reputation vendor.
12 renown with a Niffin if you are on a brand new character, though. Assuming you have got to at least 12 before on your main character, for example, is like probably less than an hour's worth of effort. You can blast through the Niffin rep really quickly on an alt. Just do the campaign in the zone, just beeline the campaign. You'll probably get 12 points just by doing that in like really quick time. Do you think the Dream Warden contract will be profitable? Just got into professions. It'll be profitable if you get it first. The contract is a random drop from the super blooms, I believe. So if you get the contract first and you are first to market, yes, it will be profitable. If you get it on day 2, it will be less profitable. If you get it on day 10, it probably won't be worth a penny. Because let's not forget that like they're not expensive to make. So it's all about being the first person in the EU to get it. So every single scribe will be doing the super bloom from minute 1. Whoever gets it first and crafts a bunch, it'll probably be cost effective for people to buy quite literally by the end of the day. There's not going to be much of an option with the contract, I don't think. It sounds like it could be rare if it's random drop from the super bloom, but the reality is that everybody is going to be doing the super blooms, and so there's clearly going to be a whole bunch of scribes that will get it day 1.
This is perfect because it's going to give you 10 points, the
But
exact
good question.
amount that you need, and it's going to cost you supplies instead of artisan metal. But don't worry if you don't have Niffin rep because you didn't play in 10.1, that is perfectly okay. You can go back to Valdrakken and you can go and pick up the last skinning note from the Artisans Consortium. It's going to cost more metal, but that will get you an additional 15 points, so that can be a replacement if you don't have rep. But with whatever method that you choose, you're going to want to go and allocate 10 points into Bait Crafter, and then shove all of the 40 points into Mastery to max it out. Once you have that, setup is complete, and you are good to go to start farming.
Is that on the basis that it min-maxes your deafness? Meaning that you have the greatest chance then of maxing your deafness. Improve your coordination, gaining +1 deafness while skinning per point in this spec. The amount of cooldown refunded by your elusive creature bait through skinning is increased by a moderate amount. That perk is not going to make any difference if it's on a daily thing anyway. Elusive creature bait can sometimes draw elite creatures that may yield better skinning rewards. Maybe this is actually a required node. Your skill at using bait has reached its peak. Your elusive creature bait can now draw in rare creatures at specific locations who can be skinned for a chance at the best of all. Okay, so yeah, 40 points in here. 40 points in here is probably what is needed to even summon the rare in the first place. So 40, 50 points, yeah, okay. There probably is more ways you can improve your chances with this, though. Surely? Surely there's more ways to up the chances. It's not going to be considered a primary reagent, so finesse is not going to benefit you. Your gathering speed doesn't matter. Stacking perception feels like a win, though. Stacking your perception seems like a win. Increasing your ability to spot rare reagents whilst gathering. Getting your hands on as much perception is probably also key to just up your chance of even getting the damn thing. Your basic Skinner's cap is going to have definite perception on it. So you want your the highest quality Skinner's cap you can get your hands on, and you then probably want a perception tool on top, not the deafness one that I have, because I just bought this off the auction house. So that's probably an optimization as well. I'm probably I'm quite sure Penguin's going to explain all of this as well.
Once you're ready, you're going to want to pick up some maybe meat. I highly recommend just buying it off the auction house. They are super, super cheap, and you only need 10 maybe meat per elusive creature bait. This bait is what you're going to place on the ground every single day in order to lure the elusive verdant glade warden, which is the mob that you're going to kill to hopefully get these fragments. So what I would recommend, especially if you plan on doing this daily, just purchase a handful of meat up front so you can just store it into your inventory so you don't have to constantly go back to an auction house.
To the moon
Once
with
you have
maybe
that,
meat.
Once you have your baits good
To the
go,
moon
make
with
your
meat.
way to the Emerald Dream. Once there, you will need to make your way to the mid...
Okay, maybe not then. So I do feel that there is definitely some more optimization that can be done. I vastly believe that perception is going to be of benefit to you to get this, to increase your chances that... Because obviously you've got to remember that if you only get to kill it once a day, you want to make sure that that once a day chance matters. You want to stack all of your bonuses on that one first initial kill. So getting your perception as high as possible is probably going to be key as well. I wonder is there anything in here that also stacks your perception? Elemental Infusion. Attuning with the elements improves your senses, gaining +1 perception while skinning per point in this spec. So you probably also are going, whilst 50 points is the mandatory, these extra 40 points in here are most likely going to also benefit you to jack up the chances that you will even get the thing in the first place. Does anything give an even bigger bonus cooldown on it? There we go. There's an entire node here that gives +10 perception as well. So you're likely to get +10 perception here on top of 40 by filling the thing. So 50 extra perception, which would equate to 50 extra perception. In theory, is an extra 5% chance for the thing to drop, which doesn't sound like a lot, but, you know, you only get one shot at this a day. You want to make sure that that one shot has as good of a shot as possible. So, yeah, 50 points minimum. An extra 40 points in here are preferable. I can't imagine there's much in here. This is just flat skill. Flat skill. Flat skill. Is there any nodes around here that gives you a perk to your perception? Yeah, there's another one here that gives +10. These are sort of more, if you know, probably not going to get these on an alt because that's another 30 points all the way here just for 10 extra perception. But if you are really trying to stack your chances, there's a 15 perception while skinning primary leather yielding creatures. I think that one is going to benefit you as well because isn't the where was the screenshot? Hang on, let me check. Where's it gone? It drops leather. So yes, it's leather dropping 1. So this node here will also benefit you with yet more, with another 1.5% chance for it to drop. You only got one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Psst, there's an M&M fan in chat. Deafness, skill, finesse, skill. Yeah, so there's definitely another couple of, you know, if you really are trying to 100% optimize, 50 points is your barrier to entry, although there is definitely more you could be doing by the looks of things. Trophy collector. Learn to recognize rare materials, gaining +1 perception while skinning per point in this specialization. Gain an increased chance to gather species-specific reagents from creatures. Another 15%, a 1.5% chance here. You are the master of finding rare materials. You gain +50 perception while skinning, on top of the fact that this gives you 40 from here, so that's another 10%. Does anybody know? Okay, I have 41% perception, max tree with rank 5 tools. Let me tell you, it doesn't help shit for Cobra skin. Okay. Well, either way, I live by the theory that every little should help. So 50 points, 10 in here, 40 in here is your barrier to entry. But there is definitely more you could do to help your case. Obviously, you're probably not going to spend much time going that far, but there is options for you all the same, I reckon.
Per day has a chance
where did we get to?
From cost more. Once you have that, setup is complete and you are good to go to start farming. Once you're ready, you're going to want to pick up some maybe meat. I highly recommend just buying a single day.
Hang on, we've done the maybe meat bit.
Once you have your baits good to go, rootlands. You know you're in the right place because it will show up on your screen.
Meandering rootlands.
And you can see that zone location above your minimap. In this region, which is just kind of a little island to itself, you will want to place down your creature bait. Unlike 10.1, you have a pretty wide range to place it. I placed it at the top of the rootlands, I placed it at the bottom, in the middle, to the side, and this creature always spawns. So feel free to just pick a location that you're good and place the bait. After a few seconds,
here he
the
comes.
Verdant Glade Warden should show up, and you have a choice to make. If you're a geared player, you can quickly kill it, just like normal, or if you struggle with item level, just like me, you can wait 5 minutes, you don't even have to fight it, and it will die on its own. Once it dies, be sure to go up and skin it, because it will despawn.
I can guarantee you, once the game goes live, there'll be no need to wait 5 minutes. I think somebody will come along and nuke it within seconds. I think you'll be good.
Very, very fast. Once you skin it, hopefully you're lucky enough to get a fragment, and that is it. You can simply go and either use it in crafting or sell it to the auction house. But yeah guys, that is basically it. If you're unlucky and you don't get a fragment, that is okay. You can either try again on a new character or try again the next day. One thing that I do want to keep in mind is that all of this is subject to change because I'm strictly going off PTR knowledge, so don't be shocked if something changes slightly. But hopefully this guide can give you enough starting information to get out there and farm the fragments at the start of 10.2. I can imagine if you are one of the first people to get these recipes, you're going to make a lot of crafters very, very happy, and they are going to be willing to pay a pretty penny. But everybody, as always, thank you guys so much for watching.
Good job, good job, good job. Make sure you've given the video a like, boys and girls. Make sure you've given it a like. The conclusion for me then is that more people are going to know about this. More people will set this up. 50 points on a skinner, on a brand new skinner, is not that much of a challenge. There are also, what was not mentioned in that video, there are the one-time treasures for skinning as well, I believe. Which might actually, in theory, be an easier way for people to hit that 50. Let me see if I can try and remember how many there are and where they are. I can't remember exactly where they are, but I'm pretty sure that there's 7 or 8 at least, and they all give 3 points. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong here. So that's 8, 16. Let's say 24 points, plus a week's worth of skinning points, plus... There were no one-time treasures for gathering, only the hidden trainer. Really? Really? Is maybe that's because you get the chance to get a point every time you skin something. Yeah, maybe you might be right. Maybe you might be right. This goes to show just how infrequently I do gathering to remember all of this stuff. Yeah, the 50 points shouldn't be too problematic, even on a brand new alt, for example. There's the Forbidden Reach as well. There's a guaranteed. There's a guaranteed point. So yeah, getting the 50 to get you 10 in here and your 40 in here is not a problem. Should we just do that now? Since we have the points and we're clearly going to use this character for this purpose anyway. 10 in there. Full spec in here. I went through this on a lot of characters for Cobra skins. There's our 50 up and running. Okay. There's our 50 up and running. Right, well, as far as I'm concerned, then this dude is nearly done. Apart from, I should probably craft myself a better weapon, better tool. Weekly quest at the profession trainer for 3 points as well. Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine it's going to be too difficult on a brand new alt. I mean, this is about as close to a brand new alt as you can get, really. But that sort of makes sense. Somebody reset the price of frozen vials to 200 from 110. I mean, that's got to work in your favor. GG.
Always got stuff to offer.
I could, in theory, buy these. I have a bunch of Artisan's Metal. 200, 300, 450 for another 45 points. 200, 300, 450. I'm nearly exactly there.
I'm here if you need some wares.
Not that I particularly need them just yet. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I really need to go back and check this then. I am quite sure I saw more than 2 places that use this. I'm quite convinced I saw more than 2 places that need this, but I could be very wrong. Is the PTR still up, or is the PTR down, or what's the case with the PTR? Do I actually, I might have the answer already here. Please hold. I might actually have the answer. No, I don't think I do. Oops. Well, I'll check that and I'll let people know. I guess that's the solution. I can check that and I can let people know. But I guess if you have a bunch of alts knocking about and you have profession slots on them and you don't really have any other use for them, you might as well get them set up. Obviously, this is going to be a level 70 thing. They need to be level 70 alts, remember? But it might be worth getting their skinning up to speed for sure. Even if it's only for the first couple of days, you know, early bird catches the worm. The market will determine what the price is for these. If they end up being if the Dream Tender's Charm and the Verdant Conduit end up being popular, the price of these will boom. If they end up not being popular, then it'll be a different story. But very much like, dare I say it, very much like Dracothists, that there could, in theory, be a finite quantity of these available. As not everybody is a skinner, not everybody is going to do it every day. There may not be all that many of these generated unless the gold making community and the alts and people really get behind it. So who knows? It could be that week 2 turns round and somebody swoops in, buys them all, resets them, Shenanigans will happen for sure, but at least we know that the shenanigans will happen on two items. Dreaming Essence, which is the Shadow Flame Essence equivalent, and of course these silly little antler things from killing the rare in the new zone, as we've investigated. Could be fun. Could be fun. But I'm going to leave it there for today, boys and girls. Thank you all for watching. Thanks all for coming by, saying hi. Whether you've watched on YouTube or on Twitch, thank you. Appreciate it. Hit those follow buttons. Hit those subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Tomorrow is Friday, and tomorrow is also BlizzCon Day. I might do a small stream, a short stream at about sort of usual time tomorrow, but we'll also be streaming the BlizzCon opening ceremony as well. So if you are interested in that, I'm sure there'll be many other content creators for sure also doing the exact same thing, but feel free to stop by and say hi. We'll be reacting to the new stuff live as it happens. It might end up being a very long day. But yeah. So tomorrow could be a good. Maybe I might play some City Skylines or something in the morning. Just chill, prepare for a busy weekend of news and new stuff to react to. We'll see. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, boys and girls. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you next time. Peace.